Welcome back to Legalese 123, where we are covering cases across America. Hello and welcome. Welcome to Legalese 123. I'm your host, Missy K. How is everybody doing on this Friday? It is Friday, the last day of July. It is the 31st of July. Hi, everybody. Hi, TikTok. Hello, Facebook. Hello, YouTube. Wow, what have we been up to? What is going on? Etc., etc., etc. Well, as you guys know, we have been covering the Lindsay Clancy trial. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Missy K. I bring you legal cases that you didn't know you needed to know about, that you heard about in the news, or maybe you didn't hear about in the news. And I thought we would do sort of a case catch-up today as we are waiting. So the Lindsay Clancy trial is going on. It's day 4 of the Lindsay Clancy trial. If you don't know about the Lindsay Clancy trial, just, let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to fill you in. I'll just give you a brief synopsis. Lindsay Clancy was a mother of 3. She was having some mental health issues. She was having some postpartum depression. She was being put on some medication, and the medication was messing with her, and something happened, and she did some stuff to the children. I have to be careful what I say, and the children are no longer with us. So she is on trial for doing something to the children. If you haven't been covering me, make sure to log on to all of the spaces, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. That is where I've been placing all of the recaps and stuff for the week. Plus, I do live coverage, gavel to gavel, on YouTube. So you can find me at Legalese123, down, up. I don't know where it is in the spaces. So hi, everybody. If you're just joining in, we're going to talk a little bit about the Lindsay Clancy case. We're going to talk about Corey Richins. We're going to talk about a variety of other cases, because in the Lindsay Clancy case, right now, the jury is on a view. What does that mean? The jury is going to view the house where this incident happened, where the tragedy happened. So court is not in session at the moment. But even if it were, I can't go live on TikTok. TikTok does not like me sharing YouTube things, and nor does Facebook anymore. That's right. Facebook has doxed me. So last night, Facebook says no more, and they're going to yeet me. So I can come on and I can talk like this, like I do for TikTok and other places, but I cannot go on and present YouTube videos on there. So sorry. So hello, everybody. I'm Missy K. I bring you law cases. Hello. So, as we stated, the Lindsay Clancy case is on hiatus at the moment. They are going to, they're on a jury view. They're getting in a bus and going from Plymouth, Massachusetts to Duxbury to go walk through the house. And they're probably I said it's probably going to take about 2 hours. So usually court starts around 9. I'm an hour behind. I'm Central Time. So it's actually 10 o'clock there. So maybe by, let's say, 1 o'clock or by 11 o'clock, they will get going. So hi, everybody who's joining in. Hello. We're going to talk about the Lindsay Clancy case. Let me know in the chat if you know about the Lindsay Clancy case. And if you're just joining me, make sure to do the likies, the subscribies, the following things. I talk about a whole bunch of legal cases, and so today we're going to talk about Lindsay Clancy, Corey Richins, etc. All right, so first up, we're going to talk about Corey Richins. As you may know, Corey Richins was accused of killing her husband, Eric Richins, with giving him the 5 times a lethal dose of fentanyl. She conspired with a housekeeper of hers. She was flipping houses, and she had a housekeeper of hers that was a known person who used illicit substances. I have to be careful what I say. I don't want to be doxxed. So she was known to she encouraged a friend to help her get some stuff. She attempted to harm him the first time with putting some of the stuff in a breakfast sandwich on February 14th. And he had a very allergic reaction to it, which sometimes that happens. And he ended up like taking a Benadryl and sleeping for a couple hours, and then he was just fine. But he did say to other people that he thought that she was trying to, the thing with the skull and the crossbones. I have to be careful what I say. Sometimes some of these places don't like what you say. And so he did mention that to his family, but he never really thought she was going to do it. So she tried again. She asked for something a little bit heavier and she tried again, and then she slipped it into a drink of his. And needless to say, Eric Richins is no longer with us. And so she had her trial earlier this week. If you're just joining me, we're talking about Corey Richins at the moment. We're also going to talk about Lindsay Clancy and a couple of other cases. So if you're just joining me, hello, I talk about law cases and things in the news, and I want to chat with everybody. So Corey Richins, long story short, she was on trial earlier this year. It had taken a long time for her to go on trial. She had a lot of things going on behind the scenes and a lot of starts and stops and different lawyers. And anyways, it went to trial earlier this year. And of course, she was found guilty. And her lawyers, we thought everything was done, right? But she has some financial crimes against her. Why does she have financial crimes against her? She was flipping houses, and in so she used funds. She robbed Peter to pay Paul. She also took the life insurance money and used it for her businesses instead of like the life insurance going to her children. She took someone's money and used it for instead of using as a down payment on the person's home, she took the money and because she was so underwater in her houses and her money, that she took that money and put it somewhere else. So she's got a whole bunch of financial crimes against her, lawsuits and stuff. So we're talking about Corey Richins right now. But we thought that we thought she was convicted. We put the Corey Richins case to bed. Well, guess what? Law lovies? Hi, Hannah. Yeah, court is going to be live today for Lindsay Clancy, but right now the jury is on a view of the house in Duxbury. And so they're on a break right now, right? So the court's courting. They're all on they're on a field trip to the house in Duxbury. So I thought I would come on and talk about, do I have an idea when they're going to be back? I estimate it's going to be about, so court usually starts at 9. I eventually think that they might be back around 11, maybe Eastern time. So we'll kind of see, but we know that the hours for court for Lindsay Clancy are a little bit weird. Like they take some weird break at 11 and then they don't come back till 2. That it's bizarre. So I'm thinking 11 Eastern, maybe. I'm thinking, it takes like about 30 some minutes to get from Plymouth to Duxbury. Then they've got to go walk through the house and everybody's got to look at it. It's probably going to take about an hour and 30 minutes to get back. That's my estimate. So we'll see. All right. So we're talking about Corey Richins. Let me know in the chat if anybody knows about Corey Richins. So Corey Richins had her trial and whammo shablamo, she got convicted. And then now she's got over financial crimes, etc. She has different lawyers on that. Well, her lawyers in the her lawyers that were her defense lawyers were like filed a motion to the court and said that they wanted a new trial for Corey Richins because the Judge Mrazek, said mean things about them in court while they were defending Corey Richins. So in court, when the jurors are there, etc., the defense lawyers say that Judge Mrazek was mean to them. That's basically our, our sort of, my sort of quick little description of that. He was mean to me and he didn't give me what I wanted. So we need a new trial, which is not legal grounds, by the way. It's not legal grounds. So we're talking about Corey Richins, and her lawyers want Corey to have a new trial because Judge Mrazek was mean to them. And so in that, they said that Judge Mrazek was biased. They were more towards the prosecution than the defense. And you're just like, really? Really? So there was a motion that they made. If you haven't seen it, you can go to my YouTube page, go under playlist, go under Corey Richins. You can see I read the motion that the defense team wants a new trial. And in that, Judge Mrazek is like, oh, I'm not touching this with the 10-foot pole. So he said, I'm out. I'm out. Y'all can go play in the sandbox, by yourself. I'm out. So Judge Mrazek recused himself, took himself out of the equation, and said another judge is going to have to look at this and see whether or not what they have to say is valid and whether or not they need a new trial. Because normally, if you make a motion against a trial court judge, that trial court judge gets to hear it. And then they get to make the decision, etc. But Judge Mrazek said, hey, listen, I'm if you say I'm biased in this, then I'm not going to listen to this. My biased opinion might come back. All right, we got a lot of people on here. So hi, my name is Missy K. I bring you law cases. So today we're going to do a little bit of a chat while we're waiting for the Lindsay Clancy stuff to come on. If you know me, hello. If you don't, like I said, I bring you law cases. We're covering Lindsay Clancy. We're talking about Corey Richins. We're going to talk about a couple of other while we're waiting for Lindsay Clancy to start. If you haven't liked, subscribed, followed, whatever, please do so that you know what's going on. And if you're on the Tickety Talk, you can make it rain hearts and stuff like that. You can, there's a whole bunch of other stuff I don't know about. So I'm just trying to do a show. All right, so Judge Mrazek said, I cannot do this, so another judge has to listen to it. So another judge did. So if you're joining me on TikTok, I cannot show you this, but I can, if you want to join me over on YouTube, because later on, so I cannot show any YouTube stuff on TikTok because it doesn't like that content. So make sure if you want to join in the conversation of everything with Lindsay Clancy and you want to watch with me, hop over to YouTube. Same channel name, Legalese123. I'll be live on that as well. All right, so I'm going to bring up this document for you. So the judge that this went to made a ruling. And I posted it on my spaces, but I thought we would go over it. We got a little bit of time to do this. All right, before this court is the decision is a request to disqualify Judge Mrazek pursuant to some Utah rules against the judge whom a motion to disqualify is directed shall without further hearing enter an order granting the motion or certifying the motion and affidavit to a reviewing judge. And that's what he did. He said, I'm out. You get to review it. As pointed out by Judge Mrazek in his certification, the request for disqualification is contained on pages 10 and 11 in the defendant's motion. And then they go over some rules, blah, 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 blah. She says, with respect to the instant request, the last applicable date would fall under subsection 3, the date the defendant knew or should have known of the grounds upon which the motion is based. The grounds asserted for disqualification in the conduct of Judge Mrazek during trial. The last day of trial was March 16th. Thus, the motion filed on June 30th was filed more than 21 days after the defendant learned of the grounds upon which the motion is based and is untimely. Which If you know the Corey Richins case and you know the lawyers, by the way, the lawyer who was in Corey Richins' case is the same lawyer who is defending Tyler Robinson. So if you're like, hey, I recognize her, same lawyer. Her name is Kathy Nestor. All right. So the motion denied for this reason as well. All right. Last, even if the motion met the procedural requirements for Rule 29 and was timely filed, it fails to state facts sufficient to show the level of bias, prejudice, or conflict of interest by Judge Mrazek required to warrant disqualification. Defendant argues that Judge Mrazek should be disqualified from ruling on her motion for a new trial because Judge Mrazek is biased. All right. I see comments are coming in. I'm talking about Corey Richins at the moment. I was just waiting for everybody to come in, but we're going to talk about Lindsay Clancy next. So get your questions ready. You can put them in the chat. We can talk all about Lindsay Clancy. We're going to talk all about her just next. I thought we would just talk about Corey Richins while we are waiting for everybody to come on in. But leave your questions. Put your questions in because we're going to talk about it. All right, so this motion for Corey Richins just came out. So you didn't miss court today. If you're talking about Lindsay Clancy, you didn't miss anything. The jurors are on a visit to the house. So court isn't even courting right now. So you didn't miss anything, Shirley. You're right on. You're just fine. But you can put your questions in and we're going to talk about it. All right, we're talking about Corey Richins. This order just came down. This order just came down, FYI. Okay, so and because the motion is based in part on his alleged bias, judges are presumed to be qualified, and a party alleging bias on the part of the judge has the burden of demonstrating that the judge is not qualified. A judge's behavior toward a party during a court proceeding must be extreme to warrant a finding of prejudice. Defendant alleges Judge Mrazek was impatient, critical, hostile, disparaging, and condescending towards the defense counsel, and in contrast was friendly and helpful to the prosecution. So you let me know if you think Judge Mrazek was biased against the defense and was very helpful to the prosecution. They provided legal notifications. So basically, so for the foregoing reasons, the court concludes the defendant has not demonstrated grounds to disqualify Judge Mrazek, and her request is denied. XOXO, Cara Pettit, Pettit. So, in the Corey Richins case, the defense tried to be like, he was mean to me, and so therefore, we need a new trial. He's biased. He needs to go away. And so, you feel like he was impartial. You feel like he was the most patient judge you'd seen. Absolutely. And I think there were times that he was actually trying to help the defense, right? Remember the time where she got up and she said, Your Honor, they just opened the door and so we can get into this. And he's like, do you want to open that door? Because if you open that door, then they can get into XYZ. And do you really want to go there? Do you really want to go there? And so they're like, no. So he was the one that brought it up to them to be like, okay, if you open this door, then they can open up that door. And then, fireworks, right? So in the Corey Richins case, Judge Mrazek can hear if he wants to have a hearing, he doesn't have to have a hearing. He can just read the papers or he can read the motion and he can file a thing to deny it. He doesn't even have to hear a hearing. But there is a hearing today in Corey Richins. FYI, it's later on today. I don't know if it's going to be live streamed. It is about her financial crimes and her restitution. That's primarily where it's going to be. And I don't know if they're going to talk about the wanting a new trial. Perhaps maybe they will, maybe they won't. Judge Mrazek, is very patient. Maybe he's going to say, okay, so let's set aside a date. Maybe he'll set aside a date for them to argue about a new trial. So, all right, everybody, Lindsay Clancy, let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you're thinking. Okay, if you're just new, hi, I'm Missy K. I bring you law cases. If you don't know, I'm on all the spaces. I'm on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Instagram's not doing so well, but that's okay. So, Lindsay Clancy, as we know, is one of the most. So, Lindsay Clancy had 3 children, and she was having problems going back to work after each child. The first 2, she ended up going back to work. The third one, she wanted to go back to work. She was having some anxiety. Long story short, she was having some issues. So she went to a medical professional to seek help. She received some help, but was it too much help? So if you know, you know. Hi, Hagen, how are you? So if you don't know, I've been covering the Lindsay Clancy trial on YouTube, gavel to gavel. So as soon as court gets back they are on a field trip this morning. They're going to the house where this happened. So Lindsay Clancy was having some medical issues. She went to go see a provider to get her some help with postpartum depression, and she was having trouble sleeping. She was on some medications, and some of the medications didn't go so well. She was having ideations of doing things to herself and the children, and long story short, she did. And the children are no longer with us. If you want to know why I'm a little vague, I have to be careful what I say, because otherwise I might be doxxed from these platforms. They don't like these words. So you kind of you get what you're picking up, what I'm putting down, right? You're getting the gist of it. So she's on trial. The prosecution says that she intentionally did what she did because one of the reasons they said is that she did it because she was so controlling. She didn't think anybody else could take care of her kids like she could. Let me know in the chat if you think that is the case so far. Now, mind you, I'm going into this as a juror. I don't know a lot of the behind the scenes. I do know that there are 2 civil suits in this case. Patrick Clancy is doing wrongful death as well as something else. And Lindsay has her own separate suit, which, by the way, I saw the filing of her civil suit. I didn't read it. I don't want to read it. We're going to talk about that later. I want to get through this hearing. I want to get through this trial first, and then I'm going to go through the civil cases. So I saw the first docketed page from Lindsay Clancy, and she's suing everybody. So if you're watching the trial and you hear all these doctors, you hear Dr. Gelada, you hear Dr. Tufts, you hear the hospitals, McLean, you hear Dr. Tufts was at Astor Medical. She's suing everybody, all those names. She's like, it's like a paragraph of names that she's suing. And I don't know why, but I just kind of scrolled through it because I didn't want to read it yet. I just scrolled through it, and because I was always looking to see when it was filed, because it hadn't had a file date on it. And I was scrolling through it and went to the end. Guess who's representing her in her civil suits? Guess who's representing her? It is none other than Rosemary Scapicchio. Let me know in the chat if you know who Rosemary Scapicchio is. And if you don't, we're going to have a whole day of Rosemary Scapicchio. Do you know who Rosemary Scapicchio is? No one's answering me. No one's answering me in the chat. Okay, Rosemary Scapicchio, if you don't know, is a very... Oh, you don't, Angie? You don't know Rosemary Scapicchio? Okay. You guys have some homework. I'm going to give you some homework to do. Write this down. You got a pen and paper handy? Go to Netflix and watch Trial 4. It is a docu-series. It is based off of Sean Ellis. Sean Ellis is... Thanks, Angie. Thanks, Angie. Sorry, lost train of thought. Trial 4. Write it down. Go watch it over the weekend. Rosemary Scapiccio is a defense attorney in Boston. She is a high-profile defense attorney. And when I say that, that means, when I say high profile, I mean a very skilled, very well-spoken, somebody who's in the media very often. She might not be nationally in the media, but she is in the media in and around Boston. She represented Sean Ellis, who was accused of unaliving a Boston police officer. It's kind of like Karen Reed, but Sean Ellis was African American. And I don't want to spoil it for you, but long story short, he was convicted. He went on trial not only once, twice, 3 times, and he was getting ready to be tried the 4th time. I kid you not. And Rosemary Scapiccio got his case. He appealed. He was in jail, and he appealed to Rosemary Scapiccio, and he's like, I did not do this. Can you help me? And she said, because she's a big proponent of helping people get out of jail for crimes that they didn't commit. And she's like, I'm in the middle of something right now. I can't help you. But, send me your case file. I'll look over your case file and I'll get back to you in about 20 months. You know how long 20 months is? That's a year and a half, right? And Sean Ellis is in jail. He's got nothing else, right? And he's like, I'll wait. And thank goodness he did. So go watch it. And that is quintessential Rosemary Scapiccio in action. Now, what else do we know Rosemary Scapiccio for? She's done a lot of other things as well. Currently, right now, if you want to hear like her current grumblings, Rosemary Scapiccio was hired by Miles King. Miles King is an African-American thug. I'm just going to put that out there. Right now, he's in federal custody because Rosemary Scapiccio, Miles King is being charged with the death of Marquis Simmons. And there was so much shenanigans going on in Massachusetts, as you know, Karen Reed, all that stuff. Michael Proctor is the lead investigator in the Miles King case. There's shenanigans with Michael Proctor in the King case. And so Rosemary Scapiccio was like, where's the discovery? You're going to see that. That's her tagline. She needs like a shirt, or she just needs like something on her head that says, where's the discovery? And that seems to be number 1 in Massachusetts. That's their tagline. Discovery? We don't got no discovery. So she got Marquis Simmons out of jail and on bond because they didn't turn over discovery, Michael Proctor. So Rosemary Scapiccio is screaming from the highest heavens about discovery and discovery issues, etc. If you haven't seen that, you just go type into YouTube. You can even go on mine and go under Miles King. And so when all the Proctor texts came out, Michael Proctor was a former trooper in Massachusetts. He made some very disparaging comments about Karen Reed, who was on trial for the death of John O'Keefe. And Rosemary Scapiccio said, I want those texts. And she made a press conference and she said, if he's saying this about a white woman, what is he saying about brown and black people? And you know what? She was right on the money. Why? She got the texts. And in the Miles King case, if you haven't seen it, you could go to my YouTube page and go under Miles King. I went over the motion that Rosemary Scapiccio stated. She had 2 motions to dismiss in the Miles King case. And she laid out all of the disparaging comments that Michael Proctor said against African American people. And it wasn't just African American people, it was Asian people, it was people of Jewish descent, it was everything. Even women. So he was an equal opportunist, biased person. So in the Miles King case, we're like sitting waiting with bated breath because Rosemary Scapicchio is going to have Adam Lawley and Michael Proctor on the stand at an evidentiary hearing coming up. I'll have to look and see. Go to my spaces and I'll let you know. That's going to be coming up soon, where she gets to go and ask them any question that she wants. Where's the evidence? Why don't you have this? And if you know who Adam Lawley is a district attorney in the Norfolk District Attorney's Office. And it is it's very rare to have a district attorney be on the stand and that a defense attorney gets to question them about their job. And if you guys know Adam Lawley, let me know if you know in the comments who Adam Lawley is. He was the very first district attorney who prosecuted Karen Reed in Karen Reed's first case. And it was bonkers. It's just bonkers. So that's Rosemary Scapicchio. So if I'm going to put 2 and 2 and 2 together to get 50, I can put the pieces of the puzzle together. If Rosemary Scapicchio is representing Lindsay Clancy in her civil case, Rosemary Scapicchio's busy, right? She's super busy. If she has the time, there's already many filings, by the way, in that case. I haven't looked at it, but once this trial is over, we'll go through it. I'll be happy to share with you all of the civil stuff that's going on in Lindsay Clancy as well as Patrick Clancy. If Rosemary Scapicchio is taking on Lindsay Clancy's case, so a civil medical case is heavy. It's a lot of work because you have to go through, and it's not just one doctor. It's like I told you, the list is this big. She's suing the hospitals, the doctors, everybody. And if you saw the Take Care of Maya case and you saw that, it's medical malpractice is very expensive for a lawyer to take on because they foot the bill for everything before it goes to trial. If it goes to trial, right? So they front all the money, and it's a heavy burden on a practicing attorney. I mean, obviously Rosemary Scapicchio, she's a very, very well-seasoned attorney. So if Rosemary Scapicchio is setting aside the time and the money and the effort to represent Lindsay Clancy, you betcha Lindsay Clancy has a case. Just saying, just putting that out there. So while you're watching this trial, that's what's going on. All right, let's get to the Lindsay Clancy trial. Let me know in the chat if you're watching it. Are you watching it with me, by the way? And if not, why not? So just remember, I can't be live on TikTok while it's going on because I like to watch the trial. I like to write notes. I like to share out. I tweet out /X what's going on live as it's happening. So I can't do both. And TikTok only wants you to have your own stuff. But sometimes I sit here and I'm listening to the trial, and I'm not talking to you. So it's a little bit rough. And I know some people can only be on TikTok. I'm sorry. Okay, so Lindsay Clancy's so far, my impression is that the prosecution says that she's a controlling person because she wrote her nanny a note and her babysitter detailed notes about when she wants the baby to wake up, when she wants the baby to have a bottle, when she wants the baby to take a nap, what the baby should be eating, and if he doesn't take the bottle, give him some cereal. And he cut up his some sweet potatoes in these 4x4 little cubes. She was really specific. So, do you think that she's a controlling person because she wrote this note? And do you think that she's a controlling person, that she didn't want anybody else to take care of her children? So that is why she did what she did. All right. Let me know in the comments. Another controversial topic that has been floated about is the clothing of the children. If you know, and you've been watching, the prosecution alluded earlier when they're having motions kind of going back and forth that they were going to present the children's clothing. And so they did. So after Patrick Clancy was in between the prosecution and the defense questioning him, they unbagged the children's clothing and they showed the clothes. You tell me why they showed the clothes. Does it have any relevance as to the fact? And remember that the defense already says that they stipulated that she did it. They already stipulated that she did it. So they were trying to lessen the trial to make it more about the medical stuff that was going on than the actual incident of the stuff happening. Because they've already admitted to it. They've already stipulated she did it. There's nobody else that did it. She admits to that. So the children's clothing, do you think that is what's called more prejudicial than probative? Meaning, do you think it is meant to inflame the jury? Do you think that, oh, they see the little clothing and she's a monster, Right. Allison says, they're showing the clothing as an emotional tactic. Yeah. And the exercise bands, right? Everybody knows what an exercise band looks like, right? Not only that, but they had them in the pictures. Yesterday, they showed the pictures of the exercise bands. You get the point. You can get the picture yourself. Now, they probably will, when it comes time, they're going to have the medical examiner come on the stand, and there's probably going to be some autopsy photos. We, John Q. Public, won't see them. Not only that, I don't want to see them. You don't want to see them. It will be ingrained in your brain, and you don't want to see that. I feel bad for the jury because they will probably see that. So I want to see how that comes in. So that's topic number 1. All right, Patrick Clancy. What do you guys think of Patrick Clancy? He seemed very even keel on the stand. He didn't seem, I want to say that I felt that he was kind of disassociating. That's my thoughts. He's like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to testify, but here I am. And he said that she was a great mother, said that she was a loving mother. He noticed that she was having these issues. He didn't know that she was taking the medication. He didn't know that she went to go see someone. But again, I stated this before. Does your spouse or your partner know everything that you're doing? Do you share everything? I don't. He doesn't need to know everything. And I know other they don't need to. And some things, maybe she's embarrassed, right? Maybe she's embarrassed to share her thoughts and her feelings. But she did it eventually. She did eventually share what was going on with her. And mind you, this was just a little bit after COVID. I think this happened it happened in January 23, but it was like late 2022. And you heard that they were like, the COVID bubble was still surrounding them. So she wasn't actually going to see the doctor. She was telemedicine like we are right now. She was talking to the doctor via a webcam or whatever. And you know that those appointments are only about 15 minutes long because doctors got to get you in and get you out. And he said, enough with that. He said, enough with that. Let's go in and talk. And they did. They went in, they talked. And that wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. That they then had to go to McLean. She had to go be at McLean, which was a mental facility, and she was there for 5 days. Now, some people say that she had to leave because of insurance reasons. That didn't come into trial, so I don't know if that is the case. Some people said she had to leave for insurance reasons, and other people they said on the stand that she left because she wanted to go to Cora's birthday party. So if I'm at home juror, I'm listening to what's coming into trial. I do hear smatterings of things. I can't help it. It's in my feed because I cover it. It's in my feed, so it's there as well. So you guys let me know what you think of Patrick Clancy. Now, we do know that Patrick Clancy is married and he does have a young daughter. I estimate that she might be like around 2 years old. Don't know for sure. But, he was there to help her. And he knew that she was having issues and what have you. Now, was she a ticking time bomb? We don't have that information just yet, but it definitely sounds like it. Sounds like she was a ticking time bomb, and it was just, when was it going to go off? Now, the prosecution said that she sent him off on a very far away errand so she could do the deed, because that's what she intended. Remember, the prosecution needs to present intent, that she planned and she intended to do this, and that she was in her right mind doing this. And that the defense says she wasn't in her right mind, and that she was overtired, overmedicated, and she had a psychotic break. That's what they're saying. So when the prosecution asked him, did you know in the mental facility that she did see a doctor? And that she didn't tell him that she went to go see a doctor? Was she hiding things? We don't know what her mental status was at the hospital. They said, oh, she was weaned off of those medicines that might make her mentally unstable. She was there for 5 days. Can you seriously say after 5 days, if you've been on these psychotropic drugs, that, whoops, you're cured? Now, I don't know. I've never taken any of those medications, so I don't know how they feel. But I've got a couple of people who have talked a little bit about how certain interactions with, hi Donna, that certain interactions with medication might make somebody do something that they normally wouldn't do, right? Sorry, had to take a drink. By the way, what are you guys drinking this morning? I keep talking about this. Oh, I don't know if you can see this. Let's go. Oh, nope. I just totally go away. Oh, well, you can't see it. You kind of can see it. Anyways, I have a little Ninja blender and I blend up my protein powder, my collagen, and a shot of espresso in the morning, and that's what I'm drinking. So, oh, Donna's got water and black coffee. Chrissy has OJ. So we're talking about the Lindsay Clancy case. So if you guys know Lindsay Clancy, and if you don't know, I'm covering it live on YouTube. So after we're done here, we're going to hop over live on YouTube and cover the case when it comes back. The jury's on a road trip. They're on a field trip right now. They're going to the Clancy house where it happened, even though we know it doesn't look anything like it does in the pictures, because all the furniture is not there. All the kids' stuff is not there. It's not their house anymore, right? And in fact, the judge said it was a male couple that lives there. So, anyways, would you want to go live at the unaliving house of the Clancy clan? It's a cute house. It's a cute house. Boston houses aren't very big, by the way, unless like you're rich and you can go live in a mansion. But their house was very cute. I really liked their layout of their house. The rooms are very small. That's the way Boston houses are. But all right. So how do you think Patrick Clancy is on the stand if you're following the trial? And if not, why aren't you following it? Why aren't you following with me? Nothing but peer pressure there. All right. Allison says the prosecution is grasping at straws. For what? What a waste of time and money for this trial. You know, I'm trying to be optimistic and I'm trying to be a good person and I'm trying to listen to all sides of the story. But we're in day 3. Okay, we're in day 3. And by the way, so just if you didn't know, they stopped early yesterday because they ran out of witnesses. Now, I don't know if you know, but judges do not like that. If you are running a courtroom, it needs to be, come on, let's get these, especially since it's going to be a 6 to 8 week trial. You have about 200 people on your witness list. Let's get going, right? You're wasting the jury's time. And if I was a juror, I would be so upset, but I digress. Allison says real justice is addressing the irreversible situation on a systematic level. That was very well put, Allison. Allison, do you have your own channel? You should. That was very, very well put. So I'm waiting for some more like smoking guns from the prosecution that says that she's this controlling person. No one else can have these kids, so that's why she did what she did. I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see what else they're going to put out there. So Lindsay Clancy she's like, I call it like a type A person, right? She's very health conscious. What am I eating? She exercised as much as she possibly could. And just put a pin in this because I'm telling you, this is going to come up. They already kind of alluded to it a little bit. Oh, she was exercising. She was exercising a lot. And if you guys know Legally Blonde, I'm going to quote this, right? You know where I'm going. Exercise gives you endorphins. And endorphins make you happy. Anybody who exercises wouldn't do that. Now, mind you, I didn't do it correctly. Sorry, I don't have the correct phrasing. But, right? Exercise gives you endorphins. Endorphins make you happy. Jess says, oh, okay. So I'm glad you are discussing this. I feel the same way. I don't see many with this take. And Jess says, I think her husband used that as a manic behavior, though shortly after she gave birth. Yeah, so it's unlike her. Hi, Kimberly. Kimberly's over on my other channel. Hi, Kimberly. Kimberly, I've got some bad news. I can't be on Facebook anymore. You didn't miss anything. Hi, Dina. Hi, Kimberly. Facebook will not allow me to live stream the trial anymore. I got doxxed on Facebook, so I can't live stream it anymore. So once we're done chatting here and the trial starts, I have to be off Facebook Live. I cannot live stream the trial on Facebook. So you'll have to hop over to YouTube and we'll be live on there. Sorry, I just wanted to let you guys know. You guys didn't miss anything. We're just talking about things. Hi, Dina. Hi, Kimberly. So yeah, I can talk to you like this, but I can't present YouTube live trials because it's not my content. And so it's not, I'm using YouTube's content to make my own content. So I can be on like this, like I'm talking to you, but I can't present their stuff on the screen. So I'm sorry. So I have to be off. I know. I'm sorry. But so here's the thing. If I don't like adhere to the rules, then Allison, I'll answer your question in just a second. If I don't adhere to the rules, then they'll cut my channel off. And by the way, I'm almost at 5,000 likes or 5,000 followers on Facebook. Just FYI, I'm going to get to 5,000 today. So I've been working so hard to create my channel and my brand that I don't want to lose it. So that's going on. Allison, they're on a jury visit right now. I estimate about 2 hours. So if they started on time and they left at 9, then it's 11 Eastern time is approximately when they might get back. So it's 9:50 my times, which is 10:50 their time. So probably. Did Lindsay go too? I don't know if Lindsay went. I think they said that they wanted her to go. Sorry, what time? It might, let's say within maybe like 30 minutes. Maybe. I don't know 100%. Let me see if I have any messages from anybody. Hold on. Yeah, there's not been any sort of live tweets from any of the journalists who are covering it. Now, the journalists did not get to go to the jury view. No media is allowed. It's just the jurors and the judge and all of the court staff. If Lindsay went, then it's her and her medical staff plus the, everybody. I said there's going to be about 30 people there. So Cloud, I don't think that they're going to take an early break for the weekend. Why? Because what happened yesterday, the fiasco that happened yesterday, they still had the whole entire afternoon to get some more witnesses, and the prosecution didn't have any witnesses. And that's just crazy. Yeah, Kimberly, I'm streaming through YouTube. So you have to hop over to YouTube, and my channel is Legalese123, and that's where I can live stream. Why are they going to the house? So they want to give the jurors a picture of where things were. They want to go outside and see where she was outside of the home to give them a real world perspective, because pictures and a 3D model might not give you a full picture of what's going on. So you asked, did yesterday go faster than they expected? That the Commonwealth expected more cross-examination from the defense. I have 2 theories on this. I have a couple of theories. So one, as you heard, the defense made a motion and asked for the judge to limit how many first responders could come in and testify. He felt that the testimony was going to be repetitive, cumulative is what it's called. And he felt that they were just going to say the same thing over and over again. Now, I know some people are like, oh, yeah, someone else lives there now. There's a male couple that lives there right now. Some people are like, oh, the prosecution paraded not 1, but 2, but 10 people. Well, I thought that was very well pertinent to the case, because each one of these first responders came. There were 4 victims, 5, including Patrick, right? There were 5 critical patients that they needed to take care of. And they're also talking about that it wasn't just Duxbury, it was people from Kingston and Pembroke and Marshfield that came. This was a big event. It wasn't just like some little nothing, right? So each one of these first responders were coming in and telling you their experiences that they had with each one of the people that they were treating. And it's very important for them to come in and to talk about that in the prosecution's case in chief, right? I'm not pro prosecution. I'm not pro defense right now. I'm just saying this is the way a trial goes. And you can complain about it all you want. It's fine. It's fine. This is the way it goes. If you don't like it, don't watch, right? If you don't like it, don't watch. Hi, Vicki. We're talking about Lindsay Clancy. Are you following the case, and are you following with me? So just remember, after we're done just chatting, and if they come back, if they come back this morning, we'll go live on YouTube. I'm live on YouTube right now, by the way. So Kimberly, you can hop over to YouTube if you wanted to. I'm live on there as well. I think they kept the witness list pretty concise. We heard about each victim and Lindsay. I thought so too. But so here is my other thought about that. So the prosecution, or so the defense kept arguing to the judge, there are too many witnesses saying the same thing over and over again. Because remember, they already stipulated that she did it. How many more people do they need to know that she did it and this is what happened? And that's what the defense is trying to erase. Now, he can't tell the prosecution how to do their job, but I think that he won. I think that the defense won. How many people are you going to parade in front of this jury that said that she did it and what happened? And I think he won. I think that they did have to limit some of their people. And so I think that is why they ran out of witnesses. Now, true the fact that, yes. So Cloud, thank you. That was in my mind. I do think Cloud says, I do think that he won too. I heard the Commonwealth wanted like 18 first responders to testify. And it just becomes a barrage of the same questions over and over and over again. And unless you had like direct contact with that victim or that patient, we don't need to hear about it. It becomes way too much. And the jury just kind of glosses over. If you're at home and you're glossing over, imagine what the jury's doing. They're glossing over too. And it's just like, oh my goodness, this is just too much. So I think that the defense won that. And I think they're just like, oh no, I wonder what we're going to do. I don't know if the jury went to the Andrea Yates house to see the bathtub. Oh, hi, Kimberly. Yeah, you found me. Thank you. Bathtub during that trial. So, yeah, I don't know. All right. So we're talking about Patrick Clancy and what he knew and what he didn't know. And it begs the question of, how much does a spouse really know what's going on with you and what's not going on with you? And again, that we're talking about the controlling aspect, right? If she was trying to control everything and she didn't want him to know things, she told him. Not only that, she had a journal. So let's talk about her journals. Oh, hi, Michelle. It's not on recess right now. The jury is visiting the home. They're on a field trip right now. So the jury and everybody went to go to see the house and to see where she fell out of the window, jumped out of the window, fell out of the window. We don't know. The prosecution alleges that she hung onto the window and she slid down, and that's why the blood's there. So if everybody's wondering, why are they talking about the blood that's on the house? They're saying that she slid down. Okay, well then how did she get the injuries that she's paralyzed, right? She's paralyzed. All right, so a couple of you guys are talking. I appreciate it. I love it. Okay, I wonder, okay, recess. He wasn't a good advocate. That's obvious. That's what Allison says. Is Patrick on her side? It's a little hard to tell from his testimony. It is, right? I think he's a little bit on her. Well, I think he's on her side. Why do I say that? Because he said she was a good mother. And also he is suing civilly. If you guys didn't hear me talk about earlier, he's suing civilly the same people she's suing for wrongful death for the children. So you have to make the claim that she wasn't getting the right treatment in order to do a civil suit. That's my opinion. You let me know what you think. Okay. I'm trying to read you guys are doing great. Yeah, who cares if she slid down? It's a twistable detail. Yeah, he filed a civil case advocating for her. I believe he's on her side. By the way, I have not seen the civil cases, so don't tell me la 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 la. I will go over the civil cases after this trial is over. I'm an armchair juror. I'm trying to watch it as a juror. I know little facts here and there, but I just kind of want to see. So I'm a law nerd at heart. I would really like to be a lawyer, but that's a chapter of a different story in a different day. But I like to see the arguments. I like to see what each side is arguing, what comes into trial, what doesn't come into trial, what each side is trying to put in. By the way, love Mr. Reddington. Let me know in the chat if you like Mr. Reddington and his little subtle ways where he's testifying, where he's saying things under his breath that he's not supposed to say. Like, for example, when she objected and she said, I don't understand what the purpose is. And he's like, oh, I'll tell you what the purpose is. He cracks me up. Reddington is a character. I'm in love with him. He also is a very well-skilled attorney, if you don't know who Kevin Reddington is. Okay, and all of you who are just joining me, there are 75 people of you here in my Tickety Talk. Thank you. Welcome. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, do all the fun things. Please, 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 please. I'm trying to get my TikTok up. I was at 670 something earlier today. I want to get to 1,000. So please like, share, do the hearty things. You guys are going so fast for me here. Hang on, I gotta go back. I was talking. Also funny that he visits New York, where his current wife, who he knew prior to this. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, he's very controversial for good reason. Why be rude to the witness though? There's no reason for it. Yeah. I didn't get what that comment was that you're saying to Michelle. Yeah, I don't know. So there's some controversy on, just FYI, there's controversy on TikTok that people are saying that Patrick Clancy knew his wife beforehand, that his new wife knew beforehand. Some people are alluding to the fact that he was cheating on Lindsay, that he had gone to New York prior to this, and that is why he left her for 2 days in November or whenever the time was. I don't know. I have no evidence to that fact. And I would like to think that if there was evidence to that fact, and if that was a mitigating factor, that it totally would come in. And I don't see any evidence of that yet. So I'm kind of setting that aside. So I also heard that Patrick Clancy and Lindsay Clancy were Catholic, just FYI. And I didn't hear a lot about religion in any of their testimonies. So I don't know, but to me, he came across as a very good father. And when I saw the picture, and when I saw the picture of his office and I saw the bouncy thing in his office, that seems to me that when he's in the office, perhaps she's in the office too. She uses his laptop. Perhaps when he's in the office, the baby sits in the bouncy seat. You know? And also, kudos. It is almost 5 o'clock at night, and she wants you to go pick up dinner, and you go get dinner. Thank you. Thank you. That's all I have to say. Oh, so Halo says they go to the Holy Family Church in Duxbury. Their priest is in court. For Lindsay, Halo? Oh, Halo seems to have all the dirt. Amy says, oh, hang on, Amy. I think this was premeditated. She knew exactly what she was doing. I can't believe the people blaming the husband. He did everything he asked her to do. See? And here's the thing. We're not going to dox people who are on different sides of the fences. I don't know just yet. I'm waiting for the evidence to come in. The prosecution to me so far hasn't proved anything to me thus far, and I'm waiting to hear from doctors. So everybody is welcome. I want to hear all of your thoughts and your opinions. I want to hear why you think what you think. And, let's make persuasive arguments. So Halo says, but yes, the priest is there in support of the whole family. He's sitting behind her. Oh, I can see how the husband may not have been looped in on everything. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if I don't, in my heart of hearts. So Andy, my husband doesn't know when I go to the doctor half the time. Right. And also when they were talking to him about what she was doing with the children, did you know that this was Cora's 5-year well checkup? No, he didn't know. And is that a gotcha moment? No, no, it's not. Because if Lindsay's the primary person taking care of the children and taking them to the doctor, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, he might not know that. And it's not like a boom, there it is. You don't know anything that's going on. That's not true. Husbands are usually clueless. It's not his fault. Yeah. Yeah, Amy. Amy, I agree with that. You can tell that these kids were very loved by the mom and dad. She was very conscious about what they were eating, although he was eating chicken nuggets and green beans on the couch. So he was eating chicken nuggets. She fed him chicken nuggets. Maybe they were organic, healthy chicken nuggets. Who knows? Halo, you are exactly right. Men do not understand how women feel after birth. I can guarantee you that 100%. All right. So Kimberly says everyone is entitled to their opinion. Absolutely. This is a safe space for everybody. I think it's going to be difficult for many to not base their opinions on emotions. It is. This is a highly charged, what have you. Oh, Lori says they have organic ones at Costco. Right. Maybe she's feeding the organic ones. Yeah, that's so real for a time, but she was feeding them green beans too. It wasn't chicken nuggets and French fries. So good job. Yeah, Patrick said that the kids were face down. The paramedic said one of the kids were face up. Yeah, so Cora and the baby were face down and Dawson was up. But we don't. So here's the thing. I didn't quite. Well, I think Dawson was up. Oh, the chicken nuggets, the organic chicken nuggets at Costco are very good, I heard. I agree about the men, but not everyone understands the way their minds work. Every man differs. Yeah. Patrick also said the bedroom was covered in blood and the pictures we saw did not show that. Yeah. I think, just FYI, Amy, I think that they did not show everything. I think they were limiting what they're going to show us as the at-home jurors. Patrick he removed their bands. Yes, I know. My husband doesn't know what doses of medicine I take. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was a lot of blood that we saw. Um, yeah, so one of the controversial things is that Cora had dried blood on her mouth, and people wanted to know how is that possible? How quickly, because the time frame that she did it versus the time frame that he came back is a very short window. So let me know if I'm wrong, but I don't know where I heard it. Yeah, Kayla, you are absolutely right. It's hard to speak about, especially the medications and stuff that you're on or what you are going through emotionally for fear of people's opinions and judgments. Yeah. Shirley says it was very cold outside. Well, the core was inside and she was in the basement. And we don't know. So in New England, right, it's cold. We don't know if their basements are cold because the basement could have been cold. I know when I lived in New England and we had a basement, the basement heat we didn't really turn on very much, and we also had to have like a space heater down there. So I don't know. He said she was at the basement door when he left. That sounds like she moved fast. Yeah. So from what I heard, and I don't know where I heard it, I cannot go back to where I heard it, but I had heard that the children were already in their incapacitated state when she called him from the pharmacy. And she missed the call and she called him back. And that is like a 10, 13-minute window, just FYI. And again, I don't know if I heard that from the prosecution's opening statements, so I'm not sure. Yeah, they did have a finished basement. Yeah, I lived in one that didn't have a finished basement. Um, People said that her Fitbit data confirms that she never went downstairs after the phone call. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, see, I'm waiting for that to come into trial. I don't know that information yet. La 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 la. What time do we think it'll continue today? Amy, I am still speculating. I don't know the answer to that. Um, I was hoping that they would be back by now. It's 11:11 there, or 11:10 there. So probably after lunch. So probably after 2 o'clock is what I'm thinking. I am waiting to see if there's any messages coming out from any of the reporters, and I haven't seen anything just yet. So, but we're here together, and we're. Oh, Lulu says she's a fellow New Englander. Lulu, where are you from? Cloud said they probably broke for lunch. That's what I think too. They're going in interview intervals of six or so. Might take a moment. Oh, Kayla, how do you know that? Where are you getting that from? Wait, I wonder how long it takes to. Yeah. I can't read that, Shirley, but yes. Yeah, hard and fast. Hard and fast. Um. Oh yes. Broad Valley photo. The jurors need to get a picture of the space. The pictures and the 3D models don't do it justice. They want the jurors to go and see, where's the basement, where did this happen. They also, more importantly, I think, is they want to see the window which she went out, which wasn't very big, by the way. New England windows are small. And how did she go out? Remember, the prosecution's kind of saying that, the prosecution's saying she faked it, but her injuries indicate that she didn't. So the defense says that she like dove out of the window, and the prosecution says, well, there's blood here, so how did the blood get there? I guess is what they're trying to say. So they want them to picture, you know, her drop out of the window. They want to see the backyard. They want to see the shingles where the blood was on. I'm sure it's not there anymore. I'm sure they did a full cleanup of the house before the house was sold. Um, but just to give the jurors a face-to-face perspective, even though it's not the same. 3D models and pictures don't do it. Oh, Cloud lives in Abington, not far from Duxbury. Yeah. I lived in Cambridge and I lived in Newton. I don't live there anymore. Um, that was a while ago. Yeah, Kayla, there is a lot of people in the house. I want to say there was about 25 to 30 people that went. Because if Lindsay went, she needs her medical staff, she needs the bailiffs and stuff. The judge went, the defense lawyers went, the prosecution went, court staff went. Then there's 18 jurors. So 25 to 30 people is what I think went. They had to have a bus. They had chartered a bus. They did have two jury visits for the Karen Reed trial. They didn't go in the house. They went out on the lawn and they had her car there, if you remember. So they did have two jury visits for both of her trials. They didn't go into the house because they know it's not in her trials. It wasn't alleged that John O'Keefe went to the house. But we can go about that another day. Yeah, no way I could live in a house. I know. I hope they had like somebody come in and do like a sage thingy. If Lindsay went, I don't know if Lindsay went, but if she did, it's terribly sad. It's terribly sad for all of them to go. Patrick probably didn't go. Patrick's done. So once Patrick was on the stand, Patrick gets to leave. He does not have to stay for the trial. He does not have to sit there. He can leave. He can go. He does not have to be there anymore. I do not think Lindsay will testify. And if I were her defense attorney, I would tell her not to. Why? Because if you're sitting in that hot seat, just remember they get to ask you a whole bunch of questions. And if you're in an upset state and if you're emotionally not in your if you're emotionally, you may not have the words to put together what you need to put together, and you might say something which you will regret. Right, you don't want your insane person to be on the stand, Cloud says. I'm a therapist. We have a really broken system. Yep. I think Patrick's done. I think the defense did what they wanted to with Patrick, and I think he's done. He might be subject to recall, but I think he's done. I don't think he has to come back. I would be surprised if he comes back. Here's the thing. You're on the stand, you so when okay, here's the thing. The judge didn't tell him he was on recall. Usually when if you're on recall, the judge will say, "Okay, you can't watch anything, you can't see anything, you're on recall." And he didn't say that. Like, think back to the Karen Reed trial, right? Um, we all have to advocate for women's health. America's maternal support is trash. Sorry, the feed keeps jumping and I'm reading it. So, because it keeps going in. Patrick does have a new child with his wife. I don't think it's a baby. I think she's like 2 years old, something like that. I don't think she's a baby. I think she's like 2. So yeah. All right, so there are 77 people in here. Hopefully you have liked and followed me. I cover a variety of cases. We were talking about Corey Richins. Let me know in the chat if you know about Corey Richins. I talked about her a little bit earlier. If you know, you know. They want a new trial for Corey Richins. Judge Mrazek, they said it was biased. Judge Mrazek gets to hear them about a new trial, and so that's going to be popping off. There is a hearing later on today about her restitution. If and when I have information on that, I'll bring that to you as well. I'm also covering Courtney Clenny. If you know, she is the OnlyFans model who is being accused of unaliving her boyfriend. She was supposed to have an evidentiary hearing today and tomorrow, yesterday and today. My days are mixed up. That's not happening. They rescheduled that to August the 5th. I'll be covering that as well. Courtney Clenny claims that she's a circus performer and that she yeeted the weapon at him, and that's how it got to him. And the prosecution says, no, that's not what happened. So I make light of it a little bit because I'm just amazed at what some people think, etc. So we talked a little bit about that. What else is going on? If you don't know, I'm also covering the Frazier Bohm case. That is Alan Jackson is representing Frazier Bohm. That's in California. Frazier Bohm was going 104 miles an hour, allegedly, down Pacific Coast Highway, rammed his car, lost control of his car, rammed it into some other cars, and 4 Pepperdine students were on the curb, and he annihilated them. And so Frazier Bohm is going to trial. There was a motion to dismiss that was heard earlier this week, and I will be covering that. That'll be live this weekend, going over that because I like to hear Alan Jackson. We went a little bit over it in one of my streams, but we didn't go over all of it. So I want to hear what Alan Jackson has to say. And by the way, I want to know if Alan Jackson hired ARCA to recreate that crash. Yes, Chula, all mental health needs help in the United States. We do. We need to look at things. I also want to know what kind of therapy was she getting as well. Was it just medication or was she getting therapy in the meantime? So I can't wait for the experts to come in, right? I can't wait for the experts to come in through this trial to say, and it's going to be a battle of the experts, right? And we'll talk about it. We'll talk, did you like this expert? Did you like that expert? What did you like about this one? What did you like about that one? Oh, so inpatient hospital, no therapy really. Yes, experts. I cannot wait for the experts to come. I want to hear, so listen, I'm not looking forward to the medical examiner. I'm not looking forward to any of that coming in. We know we know what happened to the children, right? But it's the process. The medical examiner is going to come in. They are going to talk about icky things. We're going to have to get icky before we can get to, uh, you know, the crux of the case, which is was did the medication and her mental state make her do this, or did she know what she was doing? And just FYI, Lindsay Clancy is currently in a medical facility right now under you know, lock and key. And even if she is found insane, she will go to a mental facility and she will be there for an awful long time. She's not going to get out anytime soon. There will be a moment where they will. So if she goes to the mental facility, she gets reviewed every year, and they review her status to see what if anything her status is, and she could be released, but I don't think that that's going to happen. Just FYI. I had a good message from somebody. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. 1 second. Oopsies. No, I'm on the wrong thing. Hold on. Yeah, here. All right. So Lindsay Clancy is committed to a mental hospital by court order. She's in custody, but not in a cell. If she's guilty, she could go to prison. If not guilty by reasonable insanity, which is different than not guilty, she will be committed to a mental hospital. So just to let you know, it's not like she's gonna be free. By the way, La Lavies, I have a special announcement. And if you follow me and you know about Karen Reed, first of all, let me know in the comments if you guys are a little bit sick of Karen Reed. I am and I'm not. I mean, it's a lot. And those of you in Massachusetts, you have got your head's got to be spinning of all the stuff. Anyways, go to my Facebook page. If you have not liked my Facebook page, please do. Please do, because there is going to be a FOIA dump today. Later on this evening, there's going to be a FOIA dump. And let me know in the comments if you don't know what a FOIA dump is. I'll be happy to share what that means. So watch your spaces, especially Facebook, because that's where I post all the stuff. And we'll see what, if anything, comes out today in the Karen Reed saga. And when I say Karen Reed saga, we're talking about her first and second trials where they were trying to convict her for the death of John O'Keefe. Okay. You're never sick of it. Okay. Well, you're my girl. Kayla says living is probably torture in itself for her. Yeah, regardless of where she is. All right, so let's talk about what is FOIA. FOIA is an acronym that says the Freedom of Information Act. Did you know you can go and make a request to your local government and ask for body cam footage? You can ask for emails, documents, and what have you. Now, those of us who are nosy, and I saw something the other day where this person was like, if you're nosy, become a lawyer. I was like, oh my gosh, you're speaking my language. There have been some very clever lawyers and other content creators who have gone to the Norfolk District Attorney's Office for transparency and have asked them for emails, correspondence, asked for the trial transcripts, etc. And legally, you as John Q. Public are allowed to get it because your tax dollars pay for these things to happen, right? And it's public information. You have to request it. And so there's a lawyer, and she has been requesting the information and she's been fighting with them to get the information. And some of it we got. So if you're wondering why like TikTokers or creators and stuff are coming out with things and where it's coming from these FOIA dumps. And so like there was a couple of weeks ago, there was videos of Chris Albert, Julie Albert, and Michael Proctor and Michael Proctor's sister that came out that they were giving an interview to the Massachusetts State Police about their connection to the Albert family and the Proctor family, etc. And this was during or just around before her second trial. And so all of that is public information. Oh, it's the same channel name, Legalese123. So just go to Facebook and type in Legalese123, all one word, and like, join, and turn on notifications. Turn on your notifications because that's where you'll know what's going on. And that's where I post documents per se, and I'm also on X too, and I post documents there. But Facebook is mainly why Facebook's a little bit more easy, interactive for me to post things. They make it really easy for me to post stuff. So I go on there a lot and post stuff. So that's where you kind of get the tea and the behind the scenes things. So if you're wondering how or why is this information just coming out, it's from these FOIA inquiries. And what they've done is they've gone to the Norfolk District Attorney's Office. They've gone to other places and spaces in around Karen Read. The Massachusetts State Police, they've gone to Canton, they've gone to each one of these places and said, hey, we as John Q. Public are entitled to these documents, give it to us. Now, some things are nothing. Some things are just nothing, and some things they have uncovered. There's a lot of shenanigans behind the scenes, especially District Attorney Michael Morrissey. If you know, you know. That man was in a Discord chat with Kate Peters and Jen McCabe and a whole bunch of other people about the Karen Read case. And we don't have those Discord conversations just yet, but hold on, law lovies. It's gonna come out. Just wait and be patient, as well as all of the Michael Proctor texts. Those will come out as well. Now, we've already seen a couple of the Michael Proctor shenanigans. Miles King, Rosemary Scapiccio. If you don't know, if you need to know about that, I can point you to where that's at. I've covered it extensively. I did post it on my Facebook page. So that's where I post. So I like to read motions. I like to read affidavits. Any of the court documents that I can get my hands on, I throw over at Facebook. So just to let you know, that's where it is. That's where the tea is. So Rosemary Scapiccio, as you may know, is I talked about this earlier. Rosemary Scapiccio is hired by Miles King, and she told us everything that was in the second dump of Michael Proctor's 2013 cloud text messages, etc., and his WhatsApp messages with all of the people. So if you know, you know. If you don't and you want to know, you can send me a note and I'll send you to the spaces where those things are at. I can go on and on and on. All right, back to Lindsay Clancy for just a second. So we're talking about her controlling nature, and we're talking about her writing all these notes and stuff. She was a labor and delivery nurse, right? We saw that the notebook that she had of the babies that she helped deliver or helped take care of. I don't really know at what capacity she was, but labor and delivery means that she did some assistance with that. And so she kept a journal of the babies, and she had, like, I don't know, a small little paragraph of each baby and all of the stuff about that baby. So it didn't surprise me that she had detailed notes to give to her husband or the nanny or the babysitter about how she wants to care for her kid. If she was my labor and delivery nurse and she didn't take notes, I would be surprised, right? Then remember, she also had a notebook about what she was taking notes every day about what she was taking and how it made her feel. Now, I saw somebody that said, Oh, she just wrote that she was having horrible thoughts. Well, does she need to have detailed description of the thoughts that she's doing? It's her notebook, right? Is that is that a bombshell moment that the prosecution's like, look, see, here she is. She's a controlling mom, and that's why she did things to her children. So I don't know. You let me know what you think. And when and if you write detailed notes, be careful because you could be prosecuted too for your detailed notes. By the way, by the way, yesterday as they were talking about what was happening to the children, etc., I was googling. I was googling like because it to me it happened to me what she did happen so quickly. And so I googled how quickly can this happen? And so just so you know, if you don't hear from me for a while and the police come knocking on my door and go through my devices, this is the content I create. I'm not trying to harm anyone. I do think it's funny because if you go, like, if you ever watch the Brian Walsh case and he's like Googling all these things and you're like, oh my gosh. Oh, hi, Donna. If, if you, if you're, if you watch the Brian Walsh case and you saw all the stuff that he Googled, you're like, oh, obviously he did it, right? And so if they go and they look at my Google searches and the things that I look up, you're, oh my goodness, oh yeah, the things you Google as a therapist, I know. And I'm just like, I laugh at myself. So I was telling people yesterday that when I get nervous or if I'm unsure of, especially like in a situation that I'm sure as a therapist, you can tell me what this is. Um, but when I get into a situation that I don't know like how to act or it's a serious situation, I laugh, I giggle about it because that's like my neuro response in life is to laugh and giggle about it. I'm not laughing necessarily at the situation, but that's like my body's reflex to just sort of laugh about things. I'll give you a story. I'll give you a story. This is terrible. It's terrible. So I was working for this lady and she had this fish tank and I don't know if it was a saltwater fish tank or just a regular aquarium. Regardless of the case, she normally had somebody come in and a professional come in and clean her fish tank, however often it was, right? And her daughter, who was a teenager at the time, decided she was going to clean the fish tank because I don't know why. And so she used a sponge from she got a new sponge from the kitchen and used that to clean the fish tank. And then all the fish died. And I laughed at it. And she was just like, this is what it's terrible. Why are you laughing at this? Because all the fish died. And she was very upset because all the fish died. And the girl the girl wasn't there, but the girl was very upset that she killed the fish with whatever. And I don't know why was my natural reaction to laugh. So, hi, Donna. How are you? Donna says, agree. This trial is a waste of time and taxpayer money and all torturous for us all. So, Donna, I have some sad news that unfortunately, moving forward, I am no longer going to be able to stream the trial live, meaning like you can see me now and I can talk to you, but I cannot have the YouTube up when we're doing this. So, I'm not going to be able to live stream on Facebook anymore. So, you're going to have to go and find me over on YouTube, and that's where I'll be live streaming the trial. I'm sorry. So, when we go back to live stream, I can't do it on Facebook anymore because they said it's not my original content. And I don't want them to dox me because I have a lot of people on Facebook and I worked really hard to build up that page. And I really like what I'm doing and I don't want to lose that. So go find me on Facebook go find me on YouTube and then, we can be friends. And make sure to like my YouTube page. My YouTube page is bleh. Oh dear. So I'll tell you in just a second how many people I have on my Facebook. Oh, okay. I don't know why you're being naughty like that. So that's the other issue that I have in reference to the Lindsay Clancy trial. I also heard some smatterings of the two prosecutors who are females. How is it that they could take this case to trial? They're women, you know, don't they have better things to do? Women persecuting women. Oh, hi. Oh, I cannot. Is it Gracious? Gracious Sweet Treats? Hi. Oh, tell me about your sweet treats. I think they're going to come back after lunch. I think they're going to come back at probably after 2 is my guess. They're not live just yet. They did not take a break, Michaela. They are they went on a field trip to the house. They went to go see the house where everything happened. And so just let me know in the comments if you want to see pictures of the house. Obviously, there's pictures of the house when they sold it. You know, it's not necessarily a long lunch. Just remember, like they're the hours of this court. Okay. Let me know in the chat if you saw the Kieran Reed case. Okay. And the reason why I ask is because you see how the court was run. It's like timely. It's like court starts at 9:00. You get like a small 15, 20-minute break in between 9 and noon. You go and you have your little pee break or whatever. Then they resume back up. Then they take a break from like noon to 1 for 1 hour. And then they come back and they go to like 3 or 4, right? Not this court. It's like, oh, la-di-da-di-da. We'll take a break at 11:00 and we're not going to come back until 2. Like that's bonanzas to me. So much time wasted, just FYI, in my opinion. Michaela, I don't know if she had to go. I don't know if she wanted to go. That is up to her. That's her right to go. Yeah, this Judge Sullivan is just Mr. Relaxy Pants. That's what I call him, Mr. Relaxy Pants. Okay, whatever, all right. All right, so I have to do the things. If you're joining me live on wherever you are, if you're on YouTube, Facebook, whatever, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on your notifications, follow me. In TikTok, you can put the hearts. I don't know what TikTok likes and what they don't. I figured he'd want to end for the weekend after the tour. Well, I would too, but here's the thing. You have to think about the time, the money, and the effort and all of this that's going on. This is supposed to be a 6 to 8 week trial. Don't you want to get the people in and going on? Michaela, I do not have an opinion on this case just yet. No. I am waiting to hear all the evidence. I'm coming in as a juror. So I've heard some smatterings here and there. I know bits and pieces of some things, but I'm waiting to see what comes into trial. I want to see what evidence the prosecution has against her. I want to see what the experts have to say. You heard Nolan Wells was in the closet. Maybe a rumor. I don't know who Nolan Wells is. Oh. Funny, Mr. Dick. Funny. Yes, there was going to be a lot of medical personnel that will testify. I venture to guess that Jennifer Tufts, who was the very first psychologist that she saw, needs to testify. Then some of the other providers that provided her with help. I think you're going to hear from some of the personnel at the McLean Hospital come and testify. Because remember, the prosecution came in and said, well, she she wasn't just playing with clay and she wasn't just coloring. She was seen by this person and that person and this person. And so they need to establish to the jury that she did receive care from the McLean Hospital. Because if the prosecution doesn't paint that picture for the jurors are going to have that question in their mind. And it is up to each side to answer questions that the jurors might have so that they don't go looking and find the answers for themselves. So, yes, it's going to be, you just wait. Once they kind of get through all this little nuances, it's going to be experts and doctors up the wazoo. And we are going to be inundated. You're going to be a medical expert after this is over. I can guarantee you. You're going to know all about the drugs that she was on. By the way, I took a picture of that. It's on my Facebook page. If you haven't gone to see that, I posted 2 pictures. One in the beginning opening statements that Kevin Reddington had on the poster board. I did my best to post that. A couple of people commented on that. And then I took a picture of the printout from CVS. And mind you, it was only like half the page. So can you just imagine about going through all of those drugs? What are these drugs? What do they interact with? What else was she taking? What was she not taking? And the prosecution made a big hooty-hoo of, hey, she only took 7 pills out of here. She only took 6 pills out of there. And you heard when Patrick Clancy came on the stand and he was talking to the defense lawyer saying, yeah, context matters. Because she was on something, then they took her off of it. And so he said that bag that he had was full of the pills that she gave him to hold on to because she was no longer taking them. Do I believe that she snapped because she found out that the husband was cheating? Megan, we don't have evidence of that just yet. I've heard some rumors and some smatterings and stuff that he was cheating, but it hasn't come into trial just yet. And the prosecution didn't say anything in opening statements, and nor did the defense say anything. So until I see proof and evidence that he was cheating, I'm gonna put a pin in that. I'm gonna put a pin in that. Now, could that be? Absolutely. This question was asked already. I do not think she will take the stand, and nor if I was her defense attorney, I would not put her on the stand. Why? Because she is claiming insanity. You don't want somebody who is in a mental status to be on the stand, to be questioned about her choices in life. You don't want the prosecution to get their hands on her because remember, they can ask her anything and she has to answer certain questions, of course. And you just don't know what's going to come out of your mouth. So nope, zippy, zippy, zippy. I guarantee she's not going to take the stand. I thought that I do think that Patrick is done. And the reason why I think Patrick is done is because I think that when he was excused, the judge didn't tell him that you can't watch anything, you can't see anything, and that you're going to be recalled later. So that's my opinion, that I think he's done. Now, these are my opinions, and I could be wrong. I'm not perfect. And if I'm wrong, I'll say that I'm wrong. And if somebody calls me out and I'm wrong, it's okay. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Yeah, I do. I feel for him as well. I mean, we didn't get to hear the 911 call, but when the first responder said that she effing killed the kids, I was like, whoa. Okay, so now we know. I mean, it is a natural response that if somebody did something to your children, you're upset. You're upset with them. Rightfully so. So I was hoping to hear that and to see that. You know what I mean? Like I was hoping that we got that portion from him. Even though we didn't get it from him, we got it from the first responder yesterday because we didn't get to hear the 911 call. And just what FYI, there are people who are telling us what the 911 call is. They're reporting out, like they're texting what the 911 call is, but it's not fully exactly what was said. Just FYI. And I don't know if they're being careful. So Gretchen asked, you might have already covered this, but do you think that we'll ever hear the audio of the 911? The answer is no. The reason why is that judge has made an order. If you don't know, the judge has made an order that is permanent, that the 911 call will never be released, nor will the autopsy pictures come out. Now, you guys know as well as I know that things get leaked, things come out. And if you're not sure, the Brian Kohberger case, right? The victims in that, the families didn't want the pictures of the autopsy and stuff, and some things got leaked out. And that is maybe not leaked out, but accidentally got released to the public. So will things accidentally come out? Maybe. And once it's out there, it can't be undone. So Cookie says he is just as much to blame as she is. She told him what she wanted to do. I pray for her. And Cookies, that is very profound. Yes. Cookies Halo earlier stated that her priest is sitting behind her in the courtroom. So, it's like that. All right. All right. Law Lovies, testimony has begun. So if you want to hop over to my Facebook page, we are back. If you want to hop over to my Facebook page, same channel, Lilies123, we're going to start covering the trial live. They're back, actually. I didn't notice that. So did she look up on her phone the distance to the restaurant? I don't know the answer to that. So I'm going to stop my feed on TikTok. If you want to hop over to YouTube, hurry up and hop over there. So hop on over there. I'm going to stop this feed. I'm going to stop the Facebook feed, and we're going to go over to my live trial coverage on YouTube. So hop over there and join me there. I'll give you a few minutes to join me. It's the same channel name, Legalese123. If it's there or there, I don't know where it's posted on TikTok. So thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you have your notifications on, etc., because I'll be live this weekend as well. Thank you. We'll see you in just a little bit. Hop over and join me on Facebook. On YouTube. Go join YouTube. Bye. Okay, so I'm gone with that. All right. Facebook people, I'm sorry, I have to disconnect. Find me over on YouTube if you can, please. The trial is starting, so we're going to go ahead and start. Hi. So bye-bye, Facebook. Hopefully you can hop over to YouTube. Bye. All right. Okay. Facebook is gone. All right, Law Lovies. Give me just 1 second. Oh, you don't want to see that. Give me 1 second, and we're going to bring this up. Hold on just a second. We're also waiting for some people to come over. See, I was kind of right. They started a little bit later. I was good. I was right on. We're almost there. We didn't miss anything. Okay. All right. Hello, La Lovies. Thanks for joining me on the YouTube. Hold on just a second. Let me put my ears in so I can see with you. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. All right. 1 second. Let me fix that. All right, here we go. We're not that far behind. So, and we'll catch up, when they stop and start and do all the crazy things. So, welcome to my YouTube page. Make sure to like and subscribe. Turn your notifications on. All right, so we have some Zoom room, so we'll kind of zoom through whatever is going on.
18 jurors.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk.
Okay,
Members
here we
of the jury, we're now going to return, as I told you before, to the Commonwealth's case, and I'll ask the Commonwealth to call their next witness.
The Commonwealth would call Mark Anthony Mafia to the stand.
All right, this is witness number 13 for the prosecution.
While we're waiting, you want to just add for the record, same objection and standing objection, so
All right.
that keeps.
This sounds like another responder because Reddington just made a objection. I'm sorry we didn't get to hear the hear ye today.
All right.
Sorry.
Good morning, sir. Your Honor. All right. Attorney Buckingham, please.
Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Could you please tell the jury your first and last name, please?
Yes, Mark Anthony Mafio.
And how about spelling your last name for the purpose of the record?
Maffeo.
And where are you employed, sir?
Duxbury Police Department.
How long have you been a police officer?
12 years.
And has your career been with the Duxbury Department, or do you work anywhere else?
I worked in Rockland and Cohasset prior to Duxbury.
So how long have you been at Duxbury Police?
9 years.
9?
Yes.
What's your current rank or assignment at the Duxbury Police Department?
Patrol sergeant.
And I'm going to draw your attention back to January of 2023. What was your assignment then?
A detective.
Were you working on January 24th of 2023?
I was not. I was called in to work.
Okay, so who contacted you?
At the time, it was Detective Sergeant Jamali.
And is that the normal course in Duxbury when a larger incident or investigation occurs, that sometimes you'd be called in to work a scene if you're not on shift?
Yes.
And Detective Jamali, where did he tell you to go?
Initially was reported, I believe it was 42 South Summer Street in Duxbury.
And so do you recall if you went to that location?
I did.
When you arrived there, was the scene still active, meaning there were still kind of ambulances and everything on scene?
Yes.
Did you go into the house?
Not at that time, no.
Were you advised when you arrived on scene that one of the parties was being sent to the South Shore Hospital?
Yes.
And so as a result of that information, what did you do?
I was then tasked with going down to South Shore Hospital.
Now, when you went to South Shore Hospital, did you know the party that was going to be transported there?
Yes.
Who was the party that you were going to meet?
I was advised it was one of the homeowners, Lindsay Clancy.
And you later became aware that the home at 47 Summer Street was the home of Patrick and Lindsay Clancy, correct?
That's correct.
And again, you were also later made aware that they had the 3 children.
Correct.
Were you advised of where the 3 children were?
Yes,
And how about the husband? Were you advised of where Patrick Clancy was?
I was.
As far as the people transported to South Shore Hospital, you came to learn that only Lindsay Clancy was sent to that location, correct?
That's correct.
Did you expect somebody else to be arriving there?
Initially, before I had left the residence, it was a little bit of confusion. They thought that the husband was also being transported to South Shore.
And at some point, were you later advised that that ambulance was turned around and sent to Beth Israel in Plymouth?
Correct.
So when you were at the South Shore Hospital, did you have an opportunity to observe Lindsay Clancy?
I did.
In what condition was she when you observed her at South Shore Hospital?
She appeared sedated and unconscious with several lacerations to her arms and neck.
Okay, is this repetitive already?
I have no objection to the photographs.
May I approach the witness?
You may.
I'm going to show you 4 photographs real quick. If you could take a look at those.
Yep.
See, when each one of these witnesses come in, for me, they need to serve a purpose. What picture is the prosecution painting?
Recognize the
And
individual in these photographs?
I do.
And were you present when these photographs were taken?
I don't.
oh dear.
As far as
Okay.
the condition that the person in these photographs was in, do you recall this to be a fair and accurate representation of what she looked like?
Yes.
I would ask him if these are the next 4
All right, those may be.
Oh, we're gonna see the pictures of what she looked like. we already kind of got some of the pictures of what she looked like when the defense was giving their opening statements. So just FYI, trigger warning, coming at you.
110 through 113.
Sir, if I could just draw your attention to the screen beside you. I'm showing you now what's been
Oh,
marked as
dear.
Exhibit 110, and it was the individual depicted in this photograph.
Lindsay Clancy.
And those are the injuries that you observed that day of her on her neck.
Correct.
And showing you on the screen what's been marked as Exhibit number 111. Again, is that Lindsay Clancy?
Yes.
And the injuries that you observed on January 24th on her neck.
Correct.
And 112, Exhibit 112, in the middle of this photograph with an arm extended, there are some cuts in a cut in the middle. Did you observe those on January 24th as well?
I did.
And finally, Exhibit 113, that would be the other arm. Did you observe those cuts to that arm?
Yes.
Now, in addition to observing her at South Shore Hospital, did you do anything to collect potential evidence that day?
I did.
And what did you do?
I gathered, I believe they were already had been removed from the hospital staff, clothing, pants, shirt, I believe it was a scarf, and wedding bands.
Okay. May I approach again?
You may.
I'm just going to show you 7 photographs if you could take a look at those.
So just remember, if you're like, what is going on? She's in police custody at this time, just FYI. She had committed atrocities against her children. So they're treating this as a criminal case. Even though it happened immediately, they're collecting evidence because she's a criminal.
Familiar to you? Are the items depicted in these photographs familiar?
Yes.
I'd move to admit these as the next exhibit, please.
Any objection?
I have no objection to any of the photographs.
They may be admitted.
And you're like, why her wedding band? Well, that's what they do when you're a criminal. They collect all of your jewelry. Where did Kevin Reddington go? Oh, he's looking at the pictures. Lindsay looking very solemnly. See, oh, the picture that he has right there that he just placed, that's the picture of her in the hospital. Like a big picture of her. I posted on my Facebook page if you hadn't seen it already.
It should be 114.7. Thank you.
I do have some Zoom
Thank
room.
you, Madam Reporter.
Now, sir,
have-
the items that you then collected, you said that they were provided to you. Who gave them to you?
It was one of the hospital staff.
Okay, and so in examining those, you would agree that those items have been cut off of the individual.
Correct.
And so after taking custody of those particular items, did other law enforcement arrive at South Shore Hospital?
Yes.
And who arrived?
Trooper Lawler from the Mass State Police and Officer Lepard from the Duxbury Police.
And again, you had been at the scene at 47 Summer Street, correct?
Correct.
And then you went to South Shore Hospital. Were other members of the Duxbury Department at the Summer Street address and at other locations during the time you were at the hospital?
Would believe so, but I'm not positive.
And were you aware that the state police had become involved in this case?
Yes.
And based on your experience as
here.
a Duxbury officer, do you sometimes work in tandem with the state police on certain types of investigations?
We do.
And so when Trooper Lawler arrived at the hospital, did you turn over these items to him?
I did.
Now, In the time that you were at the South Shore Hospital, did you have the opportunity to speak at all with Lindsay Clancy?
No.
In the time that you observed her, was she responsive at all?
No.
Was she in custody at that point?
I would say yes.
Well, let me ask you this. As far as when a person is placed in custody, you usually advise them that they are, correct?
Correct.
I don't hear him saying that he's not sure. His answer was yes.
All right.
Right? I understand what the government.
Sustained.
When your department has somebody in custody, is it protocol to have an officer stay with that individual?
Yes.
And in this case, was somebody assigned to stay with Lindsay Clancy?
Yes.
At the time you were at the hospital, was that your role?
Yes.
At some point, did someone else from your department come to keep watch?
Yes.
Who was that person?
I believe it was Officer Lepard. I know Officer Broderick was also assisting. I can't recall if he arrived at the hospital as well.
Okay, but you recall Officer Lepard?
Yes.
And once the scene was secured at South Shore Hospital, did you leave?
I did.
And where did you go?
Back to the address in Duxbury.
And that would be 47 Summer Street, correct? I think you might have said 42 at one point.
You're right. Yep. 47 Summer.
And at the residence at 47 Summer Street, did you assist other Duxbury officers in securing the scene upon the arrival of the crime scene services?
Yes.
Were you present when the Massachusetts State Police Detectives Unit executed a search warrant at 47 Summer Street?
I was.
And was that kind of later that night into the early morning hours of the 25th?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
All right.
Thank you.
Counsel?
Could I see the exhibits that were just introduced? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Morning.
Oh, Mr. Reddington's gonna
I've
cross-examine.
got a couple of other photographs that I'd like to, just since you were at the hospital in South Shore, if I could.
Sure.
Is that what Lindsay's condition was when you went in the hospital and saw her?
I don't recall those being on her legs, but I'm not 100% sure. But other than that, yes.
Other than that, yes?
Correct.
So I would offer that, Your Honor, if I could.
Any objections?
May we approach?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so is there a controversy already about what's going on? So just FYI, I'm also putting these pictures on Facebook, but I am not. I am putting this police officer's face as the face, and I say trigger warning pictures in the comments. I'm going to put the pictures in the comments because they are very graphic. And if people want to see them, then they can see them. So what did you think of her injuries? Remember that they said that she didn't have any sutures on her wrists, and that she did get sutures on her neck, but it wasn't until the next day. So is that something that is like important, pertinent? You know, I'm unsure.
All right, that may be admitted.
Oh, Mr. Reddington won.
Sure, yeah, if you want to do that.
I mean, they already put the other pictures in. Why not this one?
You at some point had a chance to take a look at her face, I imagine, sir.
Correct.
Is that fair and accurate depiction?
Yes.
And she was unconscious at that point, was she not?
That's correct.
About this, Jim.
All right, that may be admitted.
And you said that there was some cuts on her wrist. That's a fair and accurate depiction.
Correct.
And cuts on the neck as well.
Correct.
And from the other side, right from the front.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Judge.
All right. All right, those photos may be admitted.
He already showed them an opening, so of course they're going to be admitted.
Thank you. And I'm just showing you another exhibit. This would have already been introduced into evidence, and this would be Exhibit 112. And this would also depict the area of the wrist. Is that correct?
Correct.
The cut was. Likewise, Exhibit 111 also shows the cuts on the neck. Is that correct?
Correct.
Do those look superficial to you?
Now, when you went to the house, you were a detective at this point, correct?
Correct.
And obviously, you're working in tandem at this time with the state police. They were also investigating, right?
Correct.
But you were the detective for the town of Duxbury.
One of them, yes.
One of them, okay. And one of the things council had asked you about was the clothing that Lindsay was wearing, and it was cut off, right?
Correct.
So I'm just going to show you and ask if this appears to be a fair and accurate depiction, rendition of, for example, one of her items of clothing.
Yes.
Okay, well, I don't know that, so I'm just going to just make sure it's in, that's all. Does that show that there's blood on that item of clothing?
Reddington is testifying.
Not that I see.
Okay.
I'm trying to. I'm having a hard
Is
time
some
seeing
type
exactly
of
what this is.
Residue of paint or something on the clothing, if you recall?
I don't recall, no.
No?
He can't testify to that.
Did you notice on the pants any blood on the jeans? Well, if you recall,
Oh, that's
I
a
don't
terrible
recall, no.
picture. You can't
How about
see.
I guess it would be the top that was worn. You notice any blood on that?
No.
Was there a bra that was cut off, if you recall?
Yes, there was.
And the blood seeped through the clothing into the bra itself? Is that correct?
Correct.
And that would be obviously from outside the clothing and then into the bra that was being worn, right?
Correct.
All right, we get it. She had blood on her clothes, right?
Any objection?
They're already in evidence. They've been marked, so I don't see this necessary mark them again. They're the same photographs.
Well, I'll trust the representation there in evidence. I don't want to
All right.
hold the court. So if they're already in evidence, then that's good
I
enough.
just
for me.
admitted them through Sergeant Murphy.
But the bottom line is that you do agree that there was certainly blood on the interior and exterior clothing that she was wearing, right?
That's correct.
You'd also agree, sir, that there was blood in the area from the outside of the backyard directly underneath the window. Is that correct? Do you agree with that, if you remember looking at it?
That is correct.
I'm not sure what Reddington's trying to
Ground,
establish.
Snow.
Oh, can we see it,
leaves
please?
underneath. Of course, there are a lot of people walking around.
Oh my
You see the
goodness.
blood
Come on.
Directly underneath the window, right?
Back window.
You notice blood that was on the window.
Come on,
sill itself
cameraman.
on the second floor.
We don't want to see her. We want to see what the bloody
Mark
snow.
On that window ledge?
Yes.
You also noted blood that at some point had gone onto the two shingles that were in the area underneath that ledge, underneath that window, right?
Correct.
Cameraman.
Cut off of the blood on the floor, on the ground with the EMT documents.
No objection.
All right, that may be admitted.
All right, I'm sorry. We don't get to see it.
Thank you. Now, the state police went and got a search warrant, right?
Correct.
And you were there when they were searching.
Correct.
You guys were helping out. Obviously, it was a group effort to search the house for relevant or material evidence, right?
Correct.
Now, one of the things that was seized were pill bottles, is that right?
Correct.
You know why they were seized?
I do not.
Did you seize any pill bottles?
I did not.
Were you there when the state police seized the pill bottles?
I was.
Do you recall that the pill bottles were seized from, for example, in the kitchen? You opened up a cabinet and they were right on, a bunch of them lined up on a shelf.
I can't attest to that. I wasn't
Okay.
present for that.
Why don't I ask you this? Where did they get the pill bottles from?
You'd have to ask them. I wasn't there when they seized the bottles.
You weren't there. When
I
they
wasn't
seized
in that room. We were in
Okay.
multiple rooms at a time.
So I may stand corrected. I'm sorry. If I thought I asked you if you were there when the state police was seizing the bottles, and I thought you said you were.
I was in the house, correct.
In the house, but
Yes.
you weren't there when they were seizing anything.
Correct.
How about up in the bedroom? Did you go up in the bedroom?
I did.
Did you observe the blood on the floor?
I did.
You observed when you went in the bedroom, it was very cold, right?
Yes,
Obviously, because the window was open, right?
correct.
And when you went into the bedroom, you made observations as a detective of certain items, such as, does this appear to be a fair, accurate rendition of the floor, blood drops on the floor?
It
In the
does.
bedroom.
Yes,
Is this a indication of the bed itself, the right side of the bed, additional blood that was located on the floor?
We're all
next to the
turning our
bed?
heads. I know you turned your head.
Does this appear to be the nightstand that was next to the bed?
it does.
And do you see what's on top of the nightstand?
Yes.
What's on top of the nightstand?
There's 2 cups, a knife, looks like a jar or something, and maybe a clock.
Okay. Also blood drops?
Correct.
This is a additional photograph moving farther down towards the right side of the bed.
Correct.
This is a close-up of the knife that was on the nightstand, as well as the little cup that was there, and something that says deep sleep pillow spray. You see that?
Yep.
And that was on that top of the furniture, correct?
Correct.
And this again is an area depicting various items of clothing. It looks like a little headband, a wire, perhaps to charge a phone, and blood on the floor.
Correct.
He's testifying again.
And this shows the location of the bed.
Oh, that's a different
Additional
picture.
photograph of the blood towards the end of the bed and also the area of the window, right?
Correct.
What off of these, Judge?
No, back to that photograph.
Uh-oh.
Can I see counsel in regards?
Oh, see, I clocked it. It was a new picture. It was a new picture. It's in evidence now, honey. He just showed it to John Q. Public. We have some zoom room. I'm going to kind of go zoom in. He showed it to us. Too bad, so sad, honey. You can't no takesies backsies.
Showed you in the blood, showing that the blood kind of follows through along the edge of the bed, the furniture, and then up to the wall.
Correct.
Was there also, like, if you recall, one of those full-length mirrors?
I don't recall.
No. I don't.
All right, any objection on that? All right, those pictures may be admitted.
So you had nothing to do?
Hold on a second, counsel.
Sorry.
Just gonna mark these.
It's in evidence now. I didn't get to take a picture of it, but I will. That's a new picture we hadn't seen. It looks like it was taken during the day because the sunlight's in. So it probably was when like the crime scene techs and stuff were there taking pictures versus at the nighttime pictures. It's pretty much the same thing, the scene of the bedroom. So it's nothing super new.
Through 135.
So you had nothing to do with the seizure of any of the pill bottles, sir?
Correct.
And you don't have a memory of looking in the cabinet in the kitchen and seeing a number of journals or spiral-bound notebooks and books?
Correct.
Was that pretty much the extent of your involvement with this case that night?
That night, yes.
And you really didn't get involved with any further investigation on this matter as far as seizing evidence, except for what you testified to, right?
We did seize, I located a laptop in the hallway closet,
Okay,
and that was, I believe, seized by the state police as well.
okay. Anything else you recall? How about, do you remember when you guys were searching or you watched the state police searching, did they open up bra to the nightstand that was next to the bed with a number of pill bottles in it?
Again, I wasn't present when that was taken, so I can't attest to that.
How about Apple Watch? No?
I don't recall.
Attorney Buckingham, can you redirect?
Just briefly.
Sure.
Sir, when you were at the hospital with Lindsay Clancy, with the defendant, were the medical staff in the emergency department actively treating the wounds to her neck and her wrists?
No, they were not.
And when you came back to the home at 47 Summer Street to secure the scene and wait for crime scene services, nobody went into the house that didn't need to be there before crime scene services, correct?
Correct.
In your experience, is that normal?
Yes.
And so were you present when any of the photographs that were shown to you by defense counsel were taken?
I don't believe so.
So your testimony today about those photos is your best memory of what the scene looked like at that
That's
time?
correct. Yes.
And as far as your role in the search warrant execution, fair to say there were quite a number of state police, Duxbury officers, as well as crime scene troopers on scene in the house during that. And each person, did they have their own kind of role in what they were doing?
Correct.
And did you kind of stay to your area?
Yes.
And you indicated that you only found a laptop in the first floor closet, correct?
Correct.
And so any of the other manners in which the rooms were searched, you were not a part of?
Correct.
Thank you, nothing further.
You didn't have to stay to your area as a detective in the Duxbury Police Department, did you?
Correct.
So you were able to go and assist with the search and go into the different rooms and look for potential evidence, right?
That's correct.
And do you remember approximately how many Duxbury police officers were in or about the house, either outside, on the porch, on the deck, in the house, downstairs, upstairs?
I don't.
Would it be more than 10?
No, I wouldn't say more than 10.
How about state police? You remember how many there were of them?
No.
So all told, when you consider that, the sheriff's department wasn't there too, were they, if you recall?
No,
Okay,
they were
sometimes
not.
they send them to take pictures.
No.
I don't know if they, okay. Would you agree that there were probably more than 10 officers from state police and Duxbury police that would be doing this investigation?
Correct.
All right. A number of police cruisers, and then you have perhaps, just asking, the yellow tape,
Yes.
crime scene, don't pass it and all that.
Correct.
Now, if I was, for example, to show up and pull up in my car and get out, and they're not going to let me wander in the house and look around, are they?
Correct.
I mean, that's just for law enforcement officers only until they clear the scene.
Correct.
That's after they execute their search warrants and find whatever evidence is relevant, in their opinion,
Correct.
that they seize, right?
Yes.
Once the scene is clear, then people are able to go back into the home, right?
Right.
And you don't know, I would imagine, when they cleared the scene.
Correct.
Thank you. That's all we have.
Anything on that?
Nothing further.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your
Step
Honor.
down. Thank you.
Okay, I have to pause for just a second. That was so funny. Okay, just a quick note. If you saw yesterday, there was a Duxbury police officer. His name was Cahill. He was the one that was maintaining a log of what police officers were coming in and out of the scene. And I saw a lot of like Twitter comments and stuff of people saying, well, this is better than what they did, in Karen Reed's case. They couldn't keep a log. So we know that they kept a log of who was coming in and out. And I was like, Mr. Reddington, who's in and out of this house at this time. So but Mr. Reddington's testifying. Isn't this the way this is supposed to go? I don't know if there's some sort of controversy about this, so just put a pin into this. Always ask, why are they asking these questions, or why are they fighting so hard to get this in evidence? Something's not right, and I'm not sure, but I haven't heard of any shenanigans with the police. So I don't know. It might be nothing. Just might be Mr. Reddington being Mr. Reddington. All right, let's move on to witness number 14.
Attorney Buckingham.
Oh, Richard Lepard.
Right, so now they're going to call the next officer. Right, and so when he can't get the evidence in with this officer, just call the officer that collected this stuff. So this is Officer Lepar. And I don't know about you, but my Boston people, when they say the Massachusetts State Police, don't you cringe a little bit? And you're like, oh no, who was it? And is there shenanigans about? Not saying all police officers are shenanigans. By the way, thanks for joining me. Make sure to like and subscribe and turn your
Good afternoon, sir.
notifications on.
All right. Bring Bucky in, please.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you please tell the jurors your first and last name?
Richard Lippard,
And can you spell your last name for the record?
Lippard.
And how are you employed?
I work for the Duxbury Police Department.
And how long have you been a police officer?
6.5 years,
Have you worked for Duxbury the entire time, or did you work someplace else?
the entire time.
What's your current assignment at the Duxbury Police?
Patrolman.
Back in January of 2023, were you also on patrol then?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you working the day of January 24th, 2023?
Yes.
At some point while you were on shift that day, were you asked to assist in an ongoing investigation for an incident that occurred at 47 Summer Street in Duxbury?
Yes. I was called back in.
You were called back in?
Yep.
Had you finished your shift?
Yes, ma'am.
And so where were you asked to go?
To the police department.
When you came to the police department, where did they direct you to go as far as the investigation went?
South Shore Hospital in Weymouth.
And so when you arrived at South Shore Hospital, was there already another Duxbury officer there?
Detective Mafia was there.
And what was the purpose of you going to South Shore Hospital?
To overwatch the person in custody.
Okay, and did you learn who that person was?
Yes.
And fair to say that individual was a woman by the name of Lindsay Clancy, correct?
Yes.
What were your observations of her when you were at South Shore Hospital?
She seemed to be sedated, not speaking or anything on the hospital bed, just laying there.
And excuse me, when you were there or during the time that you were there, did you ever have any conversation with her?
No.
Did she remain unresponsive during the time that you were there?
Yes.
And were you also there when somebody came in and took some photographs of her?
I do not recall.
Were medical staff tending to her during the time that you were with her?
Yes.
Where in the South Shore Hospital was this? The emergency department or someplace else?
Emergency department.
And shortly after you were there observing her, did she or did the doctors indicate she was going to be transported someplace else?
Yes.
Where was she going to go?
That she was going to be med flighted to the Brigham in Boston.
And other than yourself or other law enforcement and medical staff, did anyone speak with her at the South Shore Hospital?
No.
And when you, when she was transported to the hospital in Boston, did you go along with the transport?
Yes.
Do you remember how she was transported?
It was a med flight helicopter.
So you rode in the helicopter with her?
Yes.
And when you arrived at the Brigham in Boston, where did she go there?
She went to the emergency room.
Did you remain with her during that time period?
Correct.
And was there anyone else with you at the Brigham with her?
Officer Broderick.
And so the two of you were, what was your role?
Just to overwatch and stay with her.
At any point when you were with her at the Brigham, did she ever, was she ever awake or responsive?
No, not to my knowledge.
And how long were you at the Brigham with her?
About 15 to 16 hours.
Okay, so fair to say it was over the course of that night into the next morning?
Yes, ma'am.
Over the course of the night into the next morning, do you observe her medical status change?
There was some type of medical code during the nighttime. I'm not sure what it was.
Okay, but you were present in the room when that happened?
Yes, we were outside the room.
Outside?
Yep.
And the next morning, when your shift concluded, did somebody else from the Duxbury Police Department come and relieve you?
Yes.
During the time that you were there, did anyone besides medical staff or the law enforcement officers that you were with interact with the defendant?
No.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Mr. Reddington.
Morning,
Morning.
afternoon.
Okay,
So.
I don't know why this person's
young
here.
man working for the town of Duxbury, and you were detailed to the home initially, correct?
No, sir.
You didn't go to the house at all?
No, sir.
Okay, you went directly to South Shore.
Correct.
And when you were at South Shore, your purpose was to, as you say, overwatch. Well, that basically is she was in custody at that point, right?
Correct.
So one of your obligations is to, I guess, guard the unconscious person and make sure to do what? Just to stand there?
Correct.
Okay. And you did in the South Shore Hospital, right?
Yes, sir.
And you made your observations of her, bandaged or whatever, laying in the bed, and she was not conscious, correct?
Correct.
And at some point, the decision was made medically that they were going to have her med flighted to the Boston Hospital, Brigham and Women's, right?
Correct.
And that was by way of the helicopter.
Yes, sir.
You had a helicopter ride into Boston with her, right?
Yes, sir.
You were overwatching her in the helicopter again, right?
Yes, sir.
She still had not gained consciousness at all.
Correct.
She wasn't talking to you or medical staff or anybody, right?
Correct.
She was already had the tubes and stuff in her mouth coming out, and she was bandaged up and wrapped up and basically laying down in the gurney in the helicopter, right?
Yes, sir.
So when she gets to Brigham and Women's Hospital, they bring her into the emergency room, right?
Yes.
And that room was loaded with equipment, boxes, wires, tubes, buzzing, beeps, lights, things of that nature, right?
Yes.
Life-saving equipment that was in there, right?
Yes.
Very small room, wasn't it?
Yes.
Kind of hard to maneuver.
There was enough space for the medical staff to maneuver.
All right. And how many police officers were overwatching the unconscious person while she was in the emergency room at Brigham and Women?
2.
That would be you and the other officer from Duxbury.
Yes, sir.
At what point did the state police officers arrive in the hospital?
I don't recall them coming to the hospital.
Did you ever see state police in the hospital?
Possibly at South Shore Hospital, but not in Boston.
So you're in Brigham and Women's off of the helicopter into the emergency room for a day. Is that correct?
Correct. 16 hours.
Did you go back there again after that day?
To South Shore Hospital?
No, Brigham and Women's Hospital.
No.
So you're limited to the time that you were there as to you and your brother officer were there in the room with her, correct?
Yes.
And a number of nurses and doctors, right?
Yes.
Fair to say it was chaos. It was like bedlam in that room, wasn't it?
Yes, very busy.
And you don't remember any other police officers? How about internal police officers from Brigham and Women's Hospital? Do you recall them being there?
There may have been security, but I do not recall.
So is it your testimony that you do not recall any other police being in that room or outside the room when you were there?
Correct.
Now, at some point, police were detailed, if you know, to sit outside the room to guard the door. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what were you guarding against?
No, overall.
Anybody coming to visit?
Right, because nobody was allowed to visit, right?
Correct.
And then while you were there in the early morning hours, about 2:24 or something like that, there was, as you said to the jury, a code, right?
Yes.
And again, that kind of amped up the bedlam at that point, didn't it?
Yes, sir.
There were people running from all over, and you could hear on the microphone, code blue, with the room being identified, right?
Yes.
And that meant that she was dead or dying, right?
Yes.
She was chained to the hospital bed too, wasn't she?
I do not recall her being handcuffed.
You don't?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you recall when you left?
The Brigham, sir?
Yes.
The next morning around 10, from what I remember.
Okay. And you were relieved by who?
Officer Daly from the Duxbury Police Department and Officer Johnson from the Duxbury Police Department.
All right. So you've got 2 Duxbury police officers. And there, to your memory, were there any other law enforcement officers?
Not with them, no.
How about on their own? Did you observe other law enforcement officers come in that room or outside the room?
No, sir.
And then that was the end of your shift and you left.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Counsel, anything further?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. You sit down. Thank you.
Okay, a couple of observations. One, he got in that the code blue was that she was dying.
Commonwealth calls Dr. Mark
And
Henowitz.
he keeps asking about other officers, so I don't know if there's a problem or something, but usually you don't get to leave unless you've been relieved, right? So he just left?
Circumstances and.
Do we want to go to sidebar?
Yeah, please. Would you-
Oh, I don't know what's going on. There's a kerfuffle going on. So I'm not sure where Reddington's going with this. He keeps asking about other officers, but I did think it was funny. Who you guarding? Who you guarding? She's not going anywhere. She's not doing anything, right? Who you guarding? And we all know that that's what they do because she hasn't formally been charged with a crime just yet, but you know, they did just come from a house where they believe that she harmed her children. So she's a criminal. All right, I do have some Zoom room, so let's see. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the kerfuffle is. I don't know why we're at sidebar. Okay, this is witness number 15, and let me know in the comments if you think my observations are wrong. I'm a very inquisitive person. Why are you asking these questions? What's the purpose? Are you going to tell me the purpose, Mr. Reddington?
I may.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Could you please state and spell your name for the record?
Mark Joseph Tenarowitz, M-A-R-K-J.
Okay, if you live in Boston, I'm going to make a prediction. Typically, most Massachusetts State Police officers do not have any hair. My guess, he's a Massachusetts State Police officer. Let's see if I'm right. I don't have any clue. I'm just stating upon his appearance.
Joseph M-A.
State and spell your name for the record.
Mark Joseph Tenarowitz, M-A-R-K-J-O-S-E-P-H-T-E-N-E-R-O-W-I-C-Z.
And what is your date of birth, sir?
2/28/69.
What do you do for a living?
I was an emergency physician. I'm currently not acting as an emergency physician.
What do you currently
Okay,
do?
emergency physician.
I do disability review for the state of Rhode Island.
And so directing your attention back to January of 2023, were you an emergency room physician at that time?
Yes, I was.
And where did you work?
Beth Israel Deaconess Plymouth.
And could you briefly describe for the jurors your educational background and the training that you underwent to qualify to be an emergency room physician?
I did my undergraduate education.
Okay, just FYI, guess what? This is Beth Israel. Who went to Beth Israel? Not Lindsay. So we're getting ready to talk about the children. So if this is trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning, here it comes. So just be prepared.
And at Trinity College, I did a one-year post-baccalaureate pre-medical program at Bryn Mawr College. I then got my medical degree from Brown University, and I did my residency in emergency medicine at UMass Memorial in Worcester.
And when you finished your education and training, did you work in emergency care after that point up until you changed positions?
I worked in emergency medicine from 1997 until May of 2025.
And directing your attention to January 24th, 2023, were you working in the evening hours that day?
I was.
And at some point in time, did you treat a child named Dawson Clancy?
Yes.
How did he arrive at the hospital?
He arrived by fire department ambulance.
And when he arrived, were you given a summary of his injuries by emergency personnel?
Yes.
What did you learn at that time?
I was told that he reportedly had been strangled and he was found without a pulse and not breathing.
And what observations did you make of Dawson yourself?
When he arrived, he had a breathing tube in. They had placed a device into the bone of his leg to give him intravenous fluids and medicines. CPR was in progress. He was not breathing on his own and he had no pulse and was not responding.
And did you observe any trauma to his body?
I believe there were some old appearing bruises on his legs and there was some ruptured blood vessels on his face.
And did you observe anything in the area of his neck?
Not that I can recall.
And what did you do to treat Dawson?
We continued CPR. We continued to give him IV fluids. We gave him doses of adrenaline to try and restart his heart. We confirmed that the breathing tube was in the right position. We eventually gave medicines to treat the presumed acid buildup in his blood. We gave him calcium to make sure that his heart would, if it started again, would beat effectively. And that's what we did.
And how did you go about making sure that the breathing apparatus was in place properly?
Basically 4 ways. We detected carbon dioxide in the air coming out of his lungs, which usually just comes from the lungs. I listened and could hear breath sounds. I looked with a video laryngoscope to confirm that the tube was between the vocal cords going into the lungs, and we did an x-ray.
And when you say you were hearing breath sounds, was that him breathing on his own or something else breathing for him?
That it was someone breathing for him, squeezing the bag attached to the breathing tube.
Okay. And so that the breath sounds you heard just confirmed that whoever was squeezing the bag valve mask, the air from that was going into the lungs and then carbon dioxide was coming out.
He was not breathing spontaneously.
Okay. And are you, while all of this is happening, are you continuing to assess him and his condition?
Yes.
And what were your assessments?
So we would stop periodically every several minutes to very briefly check to see if he was breathing on his own or if he had a pulse. And he was not at any point. At one point, towards the end of the resuscitation, I used an ultrasound to determine if his heart was beating effectively, and there was no evidence of that.
Okay. And based on your training and experience, at some point in time, did you make a determination that your efforts weren't going to be successful?
I did, based on the time from when resuscitative efforts started in the field by the paramedics and the time that we put in, and the fact that despite the best resuscitative efforts we could, the fluids, the medicines, the CPR, breathing for him, it did not look like his heart would ever start again.
Approximately how long did you and your team work on Dawson?
I believe we worked on Dawson about 40 minutes in addition to what the paramedics had done previously.
At any point in time, did you try to use a defibrillator?
I did not.
And why is that?
He was unfortunately never in a heart rhythm that would have made defibrillation an effective treatment.
So your heart has to be in a certain condition for a defibrillator to even work?
Yes, there are 2 heart rhythms, basically equivalent of the heart, that if you use a defibrillator, you can restore a rhythm that makes the heart beat effectively. He was never in one of those rhythms.
And at some point in time, did you declare Dawson deceased?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recall when that was?
I believe from my review of the records recently, it was at 1928.
In 1928, would that be 7:28 p.m.?
That's correct.
Thank you, doctor.
Mr. Reddington.
Afternoon. You indicated that you observed what appeared to be older bruises to his legs, his lower
Yes.
legs, that like shin area? That area?
Yes.
And you also had an interosseous device, I think, is that what you said?
Yes, he did.
And that would require inserting a needle or something into the actual shin bone area?
Yes, into the tibia.
Thank you, sir. That's all I had.
All right. Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, doctor.
Thank you.
Okay, I like that. It was short and sweet and quite to the point.
Dr. Benjamin Kaufman.
All right, here we go. Who is Benjamin Kaufman? Which child did they treat? All right, witness number 16. I did like how they asked about the older bruises. I mean, the kid, he's 3 years old. Let's go to the witness, please. Thank
Good
you.
afternoon, doctor.
Just for the record, Your Honor, I'd like to just note, same objection.
Same ruling.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Could you please state and spell your name for the record?
It's Benjamin Kaufman, Benjamin Kaufman,
And your date of birth, sir?
September 10th, 1984.
What do you do for a living?
I'm an emergency medicine doctor,
How long have you been doing that?
about 12 years.
Could you briefly describe for the jurors your educational and training background that qualifies you for that role?
Yeah, I went to Boston University for medical school, and then Kings County for residency training, and then Columbia for fellowship in global emergency medicine.
And where do you currently work?
Beth Israel in Plymouth.
And back in January of 2023, did you work there?
I did.
And specifically on January 24th, 2023, were you working that evening?
I was.
And while you were working that evening, did you treat a patient named Callan Clancy?
Yes, that was my patient.
And do you recall how he arrived at the hospital?
Yes, with the EMS, with CPR ongoing.
And is it typical that when EMS arrive with a patient, they give you kind of a summary or a rundown of the patient's condition?
It is.
And did they give you that rundown on Callan's condition?
They did. He, at the time, his heart had stopped and CPR was ongoing, and he was not breathing. He was receiving breaths via bag valve mask ventilation.
And what did you do in terms of treating Callan?
So as soon as he came in, basically we put in a breathing tube, and we were able to get an IV established. The first thing that we do is give a dose of epinephrine. And in this case, you can look directly at the heart with an ultrasound, and his heart started beating after we were able to give that dose. At that point, we continued compressions, continued giving him breaths through the breathing tube. And Plymouth Hospital does not have pediatrics or the ability to care for that level of pediatric patients. So we're on the phone with Boston Children's Hospital, making preparations basically to get him to the more definitive care.
And about how long into your care of Callan did he regain a heartbeat?
Probably from the time that he got to the ER, maybe like 10 minutes or so, I'm guessing.
At any point in time, did he regain the ability to breathe on his own while he was in your care?
No.
Did you do any examination or testing to determine Callan's brain function?
So at no point did he exhibit any brain function. I'm not like a neurologist, so we are not the definitive person, but in emergency medicine, there's a scale called the Glasgow Coma Scale, which is generally from 3 to 15. There's different variations for pediatrics, but he scored the lowest, which basically is you're in a coma or have no brain response during the entire time that he was in my care.
So on that scale, the 3 to 15, 15, would that be someone who's walking and talking and acting normally?
That's correct.
And a 3, is that someone with no brain function?
That is correct.
And you testified that Callan was at a 3 when you treated him?
At no time during his care did he have any brain function that was evident on my exam.
And at some point in time, was it decided to transfer his care to Boston Children's Hospital?
Yes, we were in contact with him basically immediately, and then he was flown by helicopter to Boston Children's Hospital, and the whole time the ICU doctors were on the phone reviewing the case and making recommendations.
And at any point in time, to your knowledge, from the time he entered the emergency department at Beth Israel Deaconess Plymouth until he arrived at Boston Children's Hospital, was he able to breathe on his own?
No.
Thank you, doctor.
All right, counsel.
I have no questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, doctor.
Oh, that's so sad.
Attorney Buckingham.
Your Honor, the Commonwealth would call Melissa Arcadipane.
All right. Number 17. Melissa, somebody, another. She looks a little weary. Where do I go?
Watch your step, please. Hi, good afternoon. Attorney Buckingham, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Could you please tell the jurors your first and last name?
Melissa Acadapane,
Can you spell your last name for the record?
Arcadipane.
And did you work for South Shore Hospital?
Yes.
And what was your role at South Shore Hospital?
My last role was a supervisor of the specimen processing department in the laboratory.
And do you still work in that role?
No,
Back in 2023, specifically January, were you in that role?
yes.
And how long had you worked for, or have you worked for South Shore Hospital over the course of the years?
Over 20 years.
You said that you were the specimen processing supervisor?
Correct.
What are the general responsibilities for that role?
Overseeing the department where all of the specimens from within the hospital and even outside of the hospital will come in through that department to be received, checked, make sure they have orders, make sure they're collected in the correct tube.
And the laboratory at South Shore Hospital is responsible for processing blood samples, urine samples that come from other areas of the hospital, correct?
Correct.
So can you just generally tell us how a blood or urine sample would come from the emergency department at South Shore Hospital to the laboratory?
So in most cases, blood sample or urine will come through a pneumatic tube system from the emergency room. They'll put it in a tube, hit a button, and it will come over to the lab, which was across the street. And we would take it out of that canister and process it at that point.
And the specimens that are collected in a place like the emergency department are done by a nurse or technician who takes the samples, puts them in the appropriate vial or tube, and labels them, correct?
Correct.
And so when they come to you through that pneumatic system, what does your laboratory do with the samples?
Well, we check the sample, make sure it's labeled, make sure it's in the correct tube, and then we would process it.
And traditionally, would your laboratory receive several samples, meaning several vials of blood or urine from one patient?
They could, yes.
And as far as the orders for testing, you at the laboratory would only run particular tests that are ordered by a physician, correct?
Correct.
Does that usually consume the whole sample that you receive from the emergency department?
Not always, no.
And so would it be a common procedure that samples from a particular patient would be retained in case additional testing needed to be done?
Yes.
And working in the lab as the specimen processing supervisor, are you familiar with what is referred to as a preservation notice?
I am.
What do you know that to be?
So that is a notice that we would receive from a law enforcement agency asking us to hold specific samples for a particular patient.
And what would your laboratory do when you receive a preservation notice for a particular patient?
So the samples would be pulled aside, they would be put in a specimen bag. A copy of that preservation notice gets put in the bag with the samples, and it is put in a separate bin within the specimen refrigerator.
And the specimen refrigerator, is that a place that specimens are stored until they're either used or discarded?
Correct.
And does that preserve the specimen?
Well,
Meaning
they need to be refrigerated. So, but we separate those specimens that potentially could be needed elsewhere into a separate spot so that they don't get discarded.
Now, were you aware that a preservation notice had been served on South Shore Hospital for the blood and urine of Lindsay Clancy on January 24th, 2023?
I was.
And were those samples of blood and urine collected in the same manner you just described and put in a separate bin?
Yes.
And on January 31st, 2023, did you have the opportunity to interact with a trooper from the Massachusetts State Police?
I did.
And what was that interaction? Can you describe it to us?
He came with a warrant to collect the specimens.
And so did you collect the specimens that were labeled for Lindsay Clancy?
I did. Somebody had already put them in that bin in a bag, so I just went to the bin, retrieved them, made sure they were hers, and gave them to the officer.
And in fact, you handed over 6 vials of blood and 1 vial of urine to the trooper on that day, correct?
I don't remember the exact samples or sample type that I handed over, but I do know that I gave him samples.
Okay. And as far as your memory, you recall that you double checked the ID label on the items to make sure that they belong to Lindsay Clancy, correct?
Definitely.
Okay. Nothing further. Thank you.
Counsel?
No questions, thank you.
All right, thank you, thank you.
Wow, she went over a lot of things just as be the person who handed over
Your
samples.
Honor, at this time, the Commonwealth would move to submit the certified medical records from Beth Israel Deaconess in Plymouth for Cora Clancy, Dawson Clancy, and Callan Clancy in one binder.
No objection.
All right, they may be admitted.
We will get to
Can I pose a question?
questions. Well, wait, maybe we can talk while they're in their little thing. Kimberly says, she was dying, but she slid down the house. Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna find out. I mean, if she's coding and she's in the hospital, what's going on, right? Yeah, move right along. Come on. And you know, I know that they're trying to show Lindsay Clancy. Do we need to see her crying? We have a small little room to zoom, so I'm going to zoom as much as I can. Okay, here we go. They're probably going to lunch.
Sure,
Hang on. I'll stop talking.
counsel, we are going to break for today, all right?
Oh my
Talk about
God.
Here is in regards to the schedule, where we are. We are, if not on schedule, at a schedule, all right? And much of it is because of the work when you're not here, council's going over some of the exhibits and some of that, and that's part of some of these breaks, at least for you. All right, so I just kind of want to let you know that's what's going on. So I'm gonna excuse you. I know it's been a long week anyway. So we're gonna take a break till Monday. All right. And on Monday, the schedule anticipation will start about 9, maybe a little bit later than that. But I ask you to be here ready to go at 9. There's some matters I may have to talk to council, so it might give a little bit late start for you on Monday. And then the anticipations will go most of the day. All right. Like I said, we are well on schedule, if not ahead. What I want to remind you now, which you know I'm going to remind you, that you're going to be not here for a couple of days. It's very important. You've heard some of the evidence. You haven't heard all of the evidence. All right. You haven't heard the law that you will apply to this. So you have to keep an open mind. And the best way to do that is don't talk about this with anyone. Don't do any research. Don't watch anything. If something comes on, turn it off. And just like I said, if you're talking to somebody, brings up, blame me. All right. The judge said I am not to talk about it. I'm not to listen to anybody talking about this and shut them down right away. I appreciate all the work that you've put in here so far. I look forward to seeing you on Monday. I hope you have a nice weekend, and we'll see you then. All right. Thank you.
Court, all right. Good.
Oh my goodness. Okay, why do I have this visceral reaction? It is because I don't understand. This is going to be a 6 to 8 week trial, and it is as if, you know, it's bananas. All right, so I'm going to go live back onto TikTok. That's what I'm doing while I'm clicking. I don't understand why the Lindsay Clancy trial is not happening. And someone in the chat earlier had stated that. I'm just looking to see if they're going to put anything on the record. Hold on just a second. Let me just go back over here.
Thank you.
Court, all rise.
Let's see if they put anything on the record. Oh, no, that's it.
Court's in recess. Please exit the court.
Exit the courtroom. Okay, that's it. Lindsay Clancy, day 4 is done. Oh my gosh. Hi, everybody. Hi, Liz. Right, never a full day. What the heck? So I thought I would jump on here and I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand. So let's see if I can go live back on Facebook just to see. Oh, hi, everybody. We are joining and talking about the Lindsay Clancy case, and we're going to talk about who testified today and kind of what nonsense we went through. So hold on just a second. I had some questions over here from my YouTube. Okay, so do I know how many women and men are on the jury? I want to say there's like 11 women and 7 men if I'm correct. If somebody knows that if I'm incorrect, let me know, but I think it's more women than men, I believe. Why are they doing only half days or what? Again, I don't know if it's because the prosecution is dumb. Sorry. I don't know if the prosecution's dumb. And the prosecution's like, yeah, we don't have any more witnesses for the day. I don't understand. I don't understand. He keeps saying that they're ahead of schedule. They're ahead of schedule. Hang on just a second. All right. So Liz says it's so annoying because she can't handle it. I get that Lindsay can't handle it, but they're not canceling it because she can't handle it. They're either canceling because the prosecution either ran out of witnesses, which I think is ridiculous, or I don't know. I just don't know. So I'm waiting to see if there's going to be anything that's tweeted out from the thing. So I forget which trial I was watching or covering, and it was supposed to be a long trial. We've seen a couple of long trials where they actually cut it in half because the witnesses that they thought were going to come in. So just remember, the prosecution gets to state their witnesses, their side, and then the defense brings in their side, and then they go and battle each other, and then the prosecution can have rebuttal witnesses, right? They can put on witnesses with whom they want to come back in and refute someone else's testimony, right? Or bring up something that they didn't talk about before. So sometimes they have to have a witness list that has however many witnesses they're going to call, because each side needs to know who's coming in. They don't always go through the witness list. So sometimes a trial that might be 3, 4, 5 weeks might be, down to 2 weeks, right? But there was one trial where they were like, okay, it's going to be this many weeks. And then they realized, oh no, we're not even close. So they tacked on a couple more days. I don't remember which one it was, but boy, you as a juror would be very, very upset if you had a trial that you had said, okay, I'm going to change my life for this many days. And now you get more days tacked on. You'd be upset. I stated this before. If I was a juror in the situation, I would be terribly upset. So if you're just joining me, we're talking about the Lindsay Clancy case. As you saw, we had a couple of witnesses today. We're going to talk about those witnesses, and they're done for the day. They're done for the day. You got to go see the house. We had some witnesses. Wasn't that just lovely? And now we're done for the day. We're done for the day. And I don't know about you, but I'm completely baffled. I'm completely baffled. And then at the end, she's like, okay, Your Honor, here's this binder of, all of the stuff that happened with the kids. So I was like, okay, she's handing the binder and we're going to get into it. No. Okay, so let's talk about the witnesses today. And I said this earlier on the other stream. So hi, if you're just joining me, hello and welcome. My name is Missy K. I bring you legal cases. Today we're talking about Lindsay Clancy, but I cover a variety of cases. I'm covering Fraser Bohm. I'm covering Corey Richens. I'm covering Courtney Clenny, Sarah Grace Patrick. If you haven't already liked and subscribed and follow me, please do. I try to, at least on TikTok, I give you updates. I today we're talking because the trial isn't happening, but I am covering the Lindsay Clancy case, what's called gavel to gavel coverage. That means I have on YouTube. So go over to YouTube, same channel name, Legalese123. Go like, subscribe, and get your notifications on. I'm live on there too. Hello, everybody on YouTube. Also go to my Facebook page and like my Facebook page, because that's where I put a lot of documents. I put motions. I put especially any documents, I put pictures and stuff on there. So in case you missed something, you can go there, or you can go to like TikTok and stuff, and that's where I put like quick, like 2 minute and a half sort of reels and stuff about what's happening, just so you know what the spaces that I'm on. And if you're confused as to what spaces I'm on, go to my Facebook page at Legalese123. I think it's down here somewhere, all one word. And if you go on Facebook and you look onto the side, you see all of the places that I'm on, so that you could join those spaces too, if that's what you're into. So today we're talking about Lindsay Clancy. Earlier this morning, the jurors as well. I do not know if Lindsay Clancy went. So I do not know if Lindsay Clancy went. Even if she did, remember, she's in a wheelchair. She's not going up and down the stairs. And remember, just so you know, it's not like Lindsay Clancy's here and the jurors are right next to her. No. The jurors are by themselves. Did you ever? So let me know if you know about the Murdaugh case. In Alec Murdaugh's case, the jurors went to Moselle, the place where the tragedy happened, and Courthouse Becky went. And remember, she was talking to the jurors. That's not supposed to happen. The jurors are supposed to go. The lawyers can make a statement and that says, make sure to look for this, like point them to things that they want them to observe. And that is it. Because you cannot have any interference with the jury whatsoever. That's jury tampering. And as we all know in the Murdaugh case, Courthouse Becky, they stated she had her hands on the scales of justice and she tainted the jury. So when the jurors go on a juror visit, it's supposed to be the jurors by themselves with a court clerk or somebody from the courtroom to sort of like guide them, go up and considering this is a small space, so some people can go here, some people go there. So they probably divided the 18 jurors up to go to different sections to make sure that it wasn't overcrowded and everybody got a chance to look at things. And that was it. And that the lawyer said, okay, you can look at XYZ when you're looking at this. And then that's it. Then everybody gets on the bus. The jurors are seated by themselves. If Lindsay Clancy went, she either went with her attorney by himself, if she could. Remember, she's still in custody. When Karen Reed went to hers, she and her lawyers went on their own in their own vehicle. And that was because she wasn't in custody. Lindsay Clancy's in custody. Did she go? I would think that she didn't, but I don't know for sure. So if you know, let me know in the comments if you know she went or she didn't go. The press and the media were not allowed to be there. The judge made those orders. So, because remember, the house doesn't belong to the Clancys anymore. It belongs to the people that own the house. So they need to be respective of that as well. All right. So who did we meet today? So first was Mark Anthony, Mafio. I liked his last name, Mafio. He was with the Duxbury Police for 12 years. He kept saying the wrong address, but okay. I think he kept saying it was 40 Summer Street when I think it's 47 Summer Street. Does it really matter? Not really. And so I said this before, I'm going to say it again. When these witnesses are coming on the stand, when you're watching, you would think to yourself, why are they there? What is so important that they need, what they're going to be asked? Why are they there? What does the prosecution want us and the jurors to understand from this witness? And I have questions. Let me know in the comments if you have questions about these witnesses. So Mr. Mark Anthony came in and said that he went to South Shore with Lindsay And then he also went to Beth Israel Hospital with her. He collected evidence, right? He collected her clothes. He collected her wedding band. I stated on YouTube why that's important. The reason why it's important is she's a suspect in a criminal investigation. Whether you like it or not, yes, she's under medical care, and yes, she was handcuffed to the bed, but that is because she's a criminal. She hasn't been formally charged, but they're holding her. She's a suspect in a criminal investigation. Is it cruel and unusual? Yes, but that's the way that it is. And that's the way our law is. And just kind of set Lindsay aside and think about if it was a real criminal, right? Like a real person who had done some really bad things, you'd want them handcuffed to the bed so they don't get away, right? We know Lindsay's not going anywhere, right? She's sedated. She's not going anywhere. We know that she, at this moment, we know she's incapacitated. She's not getting up from that bed. So be it as it may. All right. Why was Mark Anthony important? I think he's only important because they collected the evidence. That's why, because they're going to put the evidence into exhibits for the jury to see. To me, it's sort of a nothing because, yes, she has blood on her clothes, and that's what the defense kept saying. Look, she's got blood on her clothes, and the pictures were terrible. The blood of the pants, I couldn't see anything. Is that important? She had blood. And again, they kept talking about her injuries, and they specifically asked this person as well about her injuries. And they also talked to him about, it was interesting that the defense attorney, Kevin Reddington, was asking him about the state police and like collecting evidence at the house. So he went to the hospital, collected evidence from her, and then went back to the house to help with the search warrant. And so they were going around collecting evidence inside the house, and he was present in some areas, but what Reddington was trying to get in through this witness, and I'm not sure why, did you see the pills? Did you see the pills in the kitchen? And he's like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. And they kept asking him over and over again. And I was like, objection, asked and answered. But it's okay. It's okay. So long story short, it's okay. I'm just like, why don't you just call that trooper that collected the evidence? You know who it is. And then I also stated, because he kept saying, well, who came in and who was there and who wasn't? We know that police officer Cahill testified yesterday that there is a police log, that they were logging in who was coming and going from the house. And we saw that yesterday. I took a picture of it. It's on my Facebook page. I didn't look at it clearly, so I don't know what date and stuff, but he did have a log of who was coming in and out. I assume that they had the log that day as well. So call that witness to get this stuff in, if that's what you want. I'm not sure. All right, I see there's like 35 people on TikTok. If you have not already liked, followed, subscribed, please do so. I'm trying to get my TikTok numbers up. You're doing a great job. I hit 704. Yay! I'm trying to get to 1,000 on my Tickety Talk. So please do that. Oh gosh, it says I have a message. Okay. All Lindsay, this is what I'm reading what you wrote. All Lindsay Odd doing is crying. Maybe he thinks she needs a break. Yeah, maybe he thinks she needs a break, but like, why are they breaking for the entire day? Don't you have anybody else that can come? You're supposed to have 200 witnesses. This is supposed to be a long trial. What is going on? Where are your witnesses, counselor? Where are your witnesses? Why are we breaking midday? You could have a couple more hours, right? So I just want you to know that moving forward, these next days are going to be very long, because they're gonna, at some point in time, they're gonna have to get these people in, right? They're gonna have to get these people in. All right, so I do think that Mark Anthony Maffio was a pertinent witness, just to say that he collected some evidence. And I talked all about the blood. And then remember, Mr. Reddington put in a picture that was that wasn't in evidence. And she's like, Your Honor. I was like, this is a new picture. And she's like, Your Honor, that wasn't in evidence. Or I don't know. But the cat's out of the bag, right? Once the horses. And that's the thing I was telling you about Kevin Reddington is that he's just like, here's this pen. And I'm like, is this in evidence, Mr. Reddington? You're just like, here's this. What do you know about this? And I knew, just put a pin in this. This is not going to be the only time this is going to happen. Mr. Reddington is like a fly by the seat of his pants guy. And, he's seasoned, but I have a feeling that there's going to be a couple more things that he puts out to the world that may not necessarily been agreed upon to come into evidence. So just put that pin in there. All right. And so it just continued to go on and on about what he searched for. They did find a laptop in the hallway. I want to know about that. So there will be, just FYI, there will be what's called forensic digital experts that come in. Because remember, one of the controversies is, did Lindsay Clancy in August, was she the one that searched for ways to unalive yourself? Or was it Patrick who accidentally clicked on something because he was reviewing the singer Tom Hall? Let me know I can't read. Oh, I don't even have that's in the other notebook. I think it was he was searching for the singer Tom Hall, and that singer unalived himself. And so did he inadvertently click on something that was connected to a Wikipedia page, or that was something? So was it Lindsay who did it in August? And is that sort of a preemptive thing? Or was it Patrick? So there will be a digital forensic expert to come in and talk a little bit about that device. And is that laptop the same laptop, the Surface Pro that was in the basement? Is this a different laptop? I don't know. I have questions. So hopefully we'll get those answered. I would venture to guess that they have Lindsay's phone and they digitally forensicked that. They did not, I do know that they did not look at her Apple Watch. And some people are saying because her Apple Watch is connected to her phone, so they didn't need to. Because remember, Mr. Reddington testified in court, they didn't even look at her. Here's her watch. They didn't even take her watch. So that implies that the police did not take her watch to download the information off. I don't know if that's relevant or not. I would assume that if Mr. Reddington felt it was relevant, he would have taken that watch and he would have digitally downloaded it and take whatever evidence off of that he felt pertinent to his case. Just putting that out there. All right. Now we have Richard Lippard. He was when somebody says that a person is green, do you know what that means? It's used in the entertainment industry, that somebody's green. That means that they're new. They're a newbie, right? He's only been on the police force for 6.5 years. What, if anything, are they going to give this guy to do, right? So his job was to just sit there and watch Lindsay Clancy. Remember, she's a suspect in a crime, but they had two people watching her. And you could see Mr. Reddington's demeanor. He was just like, what are you guarding? Right? Why do you need two people to guard her when she's unconscious in a bed and then she's coding? So when he was testifying, I was just like, this guy doesn't have much to say. To me, he was like, dude, I don't know why I'm here. I'm just here to guard her, and I don't know why. So it seems as though like he was initially like in the room with her, and then they put a guard outside the room. I don't know about you, but if I'm getting, obviously if you're a suspect and you're getting worked on, does the police officer need to be in the room? I don't think so, but that's their policies and procedures. And listen, congratulations, Duxbury Police. You follow proper protocol and procedure. We know that Massachusetts police officers from all divisions are under fire for following procedures, but we're going to give it up to Duxbury for doing a good job. right? Everybody clap for Duxbury because they got a police log. I'm sure they logged evidence correctly. I'm sure they did everything by the book. We're going to find out more once more police officers take the stand. I'm sure a couple of Massachusetts police officers will take the stand because Reddington was very curious about who collected what and when. And also, if you just think about this, the prosecution has pills, right? They had pills. They said we collected pills from the police. In order for that to come into evidence, you need to know what the chain of custody is. So they're going to have a police officer on the stand to testify, yes, I collected this, I collected that, and this is what the evidence is. So where did those pills come from? The kitchen cabinet, where XYZ, that will come in. So Massachusetts state police officers will come to testify. All right, so next on this, we're talking about Richard Lippard. When he said that she had coded and they were trying to like elicit information from him, he was just like, I don't know. And I understand like not to speculate, which I fully understand that. But then Reddington was like, it was a code blue, right? She was dying, right? Again, I feel like Mr. Reddington is testifying, but he's trying to get the information out through this witness that Lindsay Clancy had a medical emergency that she might have passed away. Now, we don't know exactly what that is. It hasn't come in just yet. Will it come in? Probably. Probably there might be a doctor that might say, like, what was her medical emergency at that time. So Lindsay herself might have passed away, but they were able to revive her or whatever the circumstances were. All right, our next witness, witness number 15, was the ER doctor, Mark Joseph Tenor Oswitz. Let me just see. I didn't spell it correctly here, but I did on my thing. Tenor Oswitz, something like that. All right, he took care of Dawson, and as we already knew, Dawson had perished because when Patrick Clancy took the stand, he knew that when he went to go see Dawson, that Dawson was gone from his own testimony. So he was the ER doctor who worked on Dawson. He said that he had a breathing tube. He had that osteo thing in his leg. He had no pulse. He wasn't responding. He had ruptured blood vessels on his face. They were trying to elicit whether or not he had marks on his neck, but the doctor said he couldn't remember. So that didn't come in. But we all knew it, right? They tried to continue CPR. They gave Dawson adrenaline to try to restart his heart. His heart was not beating on his own. They had worked in the hospital on him for 40 minutes, plus whatever the emergency ambulance people were working on him from the time that they transported him from Duxbury to the hospital. The Brigham, the BI hospital, Brigham's Women's Hospital, and in Plymouth. So they went from Duxbury to Plymouth, however long that ride is that they were working on him. Plus they were working on him for 40 minutes. So let's say 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So an hour and 10 minutes approximately. And they declared him at 7:28 p.m. So I think I told you before, the prosecution has to have people come in to elicit that the children had been pronounced. They have to have that these people have to come in to state that because that is the legal procedure that they have to do. The children have to be pronounced deceased. So, Kimmy says she lives in the community. It's about 15 minutes away. So good. I kind of estimated 15 minutes plus 40 minutes, give or take, if they were working on him in the ambulance before they took off, right? So we'll say, an hour, just give or take. All right. All right. And then the next witness up was Dr. Benjamin Kaufman, who worked on Callan. And now here is our first look at Callan. Now, there were some grumblings about Callan and what happened to Callan, etc. So here's the juries. Remember, I'm coming into this as a juror. I knew some information ahead of time, but the jurors are learning for the first time what Callan's status was. So, Kimberly says the prosecution is trying to establish that it was premeditated. Yes, they're trying to say that she planned this. Okay, so Benjamin Kaufman was working on Callan at Brigham Women's, and his heart had stopped beating. He had a bag that was helping him breathe. He had a breathing tube. He had an IV established. They continue compressions. They do not have a pediatrics place there. They were on the phone with Boston Children's Hospital. We know that I know that he was life-flighted there, but he's painting the picture that he's getting ready to go. He regained a heartbeat for 10 minutes. I did not know that. And he never breathed on his own. So what does that indicate to you? So they're painting the picture that things aren't good because he has no brain function, and the Glasgow Coma Scale was a low 3. Now, law lovies, where have you heard about the Glasgow Coma Scale? We heard it a lot in the Karen Reed case. We heard it a lot from, what's her name? Oh, her name is escaping me. It's a female doctor that testified in the Karen Reed case, and she is on the witness list for the defense, and the prosecution said, why is she coming to testify? And I'm Googling as fast as I can. Dr. LaPosada. How could I forget? It's Dr. LaPosada. Dr. LaPosada in the Karen Reed trial number 2 talked severely about your brain function and the Glasgow Coma Scale, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the defense wanted her to come and testify. I'm not sure exactly about what. I would assume it's more in conjunction with Lindsay's injuries and Lindsay's stuff, but because the children dying are not in dispute. Hang on. So, he came in and gave the testimony about Callan and what had happened in his care for Callan. Callan so far has not been declared. If you're an at-home juror sitting there, he has not been declared. We know that he has. We know that he did not make it. And there's kind of little bits and pieces that the jurors get that we know that he didn't make it. But until he's actually declared, he's still with us in the grand scheme of things in the trial. So until a doctor from Boston Children's Hospital comes to testify to say that Callan didn't make it, Callan is still alive in the realm of the courtroom. All right. And so our next witness was Melissa Ardicapan. I don't know. Don't come for me. And I knew, so when she got up there and she didn't know where she was going, I was like, oh, she hasn't really testified before. So she's not police. She's not a doctor. Who is this person? And so she just came to be, she's like a keeper of records, right? Okay, I'm the lab supervisor. They collected blood and urine from Lindsay Clancy. A police officer came to get it, and I gave it to him. Did you see how quickly that went? That went in about 30 seconds. Could that have been her testimony? Yes. Was that her testimony? No. Why? Because the prosecution has to establish that she is a person who is in charge of the lab stuff, and that they have to get through all of like this little minutia. They did it quickly though, but they have to kind of establish who she is and that she's the keeper of the records of this lab stuff that was collected, the specimens. She's a collector of the specimens, and therefore then, you know, when the police came to get it, but she doesn't know who came and got it. So it's just like, you're the keeper of records, but you don't know who you gave it to. All right, so that's fine. Hello, everybody. All right, there are 40 plus people of you in my Tickety Talk. If you have not liked, subscribed, or followed me, please do. I'm trying to get to 1,000 on TikTok. I'm at 704 the last I checked, which was a while ago. Hello, if you're joining me on TikTok. I also am live on Facebook. I am live on YouTube and Facebook too, but that's because I'm just talking. Olivia says, or Olivo4 says, it seems that every single human being that came across the children, or Lindsay, will testify. That is true, but it's not true because the defense said that they wanted that limited. And I think that the prosecution is doing that. So if you are live on TikTok, I am also live on YouTube. I am covering the Lindsay Clancy case, gavel to gavel, plus a whole bunch of other cases as well. So make sure that you go to Legalese123 and go on to my YouTube page, like and subscribe, etc. So yeah. The prosecution wanted everybody and their mother to come in. Mr. Reddington filed a motion and said, Your Honor, this is cumulative. It's too much, because they stipulated, that means they made an agreement that they already know that she unalived the children. That's not in dispute. There's no whodunit. She says she did it. They do need some people to come in to state the status of the children and what happened to them, because that is procedure protocol. So we've gotten some of that. So yeah, we don't need everybody and their mom coming in. Absolutely. I agree. We don't need everybody coming in. You know, you give the jurors some credit, right? They just didn't fall off the turnip truck yesterday, right? They can put 2 and 2 together. Oh, so Rihanna says she's keeping up with this case and the David case too, just baffled. So I was covering the David case. If you don't know about the David case is David with a 4 in it. He's a singer. He started in Texas and then he went to California. And he was having an inappropriate relationship with Celeste Rivas Hernandez because he was older than she was. And she was 13 or 14 years old and they were having a relationship. Somehow or another, I don't really know how or why she went from Texas to California with him and why her parents let her go. That I don't know. I don't know those details. If you know, let me know. And so long story short, Celeste Rivas Hernandez is no longer with us. She was found in his Tesla that was deposited on Canyon Road somewhere in California, and then it was towed. And then the tow people are like, oh, the car doesn't smell good. And so therefore, that's when they discovered she was in there. They had a probable cause hearing last week and partially this week to state whether or not they had enough evidence to hold him over for trial. They talked about a motive for him was that financially, if by chance their relationship got out, that he would no longer be a singer. And so he had financial gains. He had the means. He purchased some things. If you know the Brian Walsh case, he purchased some things to dismember the body. And so they have some evidence of that. They have some blood evidence in the house, text messages. Right. Let alone flying her overseas to England. They have the text messages of that Celeste was going to go to London with him, and text messages that she was pregnant at one point Then she was no longer pregnant, and you can kind of guess what happened. She didn't have the baby, and she doesn't have a baby. You can put two to two together. Sometimes TikTok and all these places don't like you to say those words. They got rid of the baby, and it's in text messages between the two of them that she felt bad that she got rid of the baby. So there's a whole bunch of other stuff. I covered a little bits and pieces of that as well. So David is being held over for trial. In California, it's a little bit different how they prosecute people. I have on my Facebook, Rihanna, if you're not on my Facebook, please go look at my Facebook. I have a list of his next court appearances and what's going to happen in his case. It's on there, so go check it out. He has a court appearance in August, and then he's got another appearance where he's going to be what they call like rearraigned on his charges. Don't know. That's just the way the California courts go. And then they're gonna set it for trial. Does that make sense? And then when he's rearraigned, they're going to determine whether or not he wants a speedy trial. If he asks for a speedy trial, that can happen anywhere between 60 to 90 days. That means it goes really quickly. Or if he gives up his right to a speedy trial, that's what they're going to determine in that hearing. I think it's later in August. So make sure to follow along with me in the David case if you want to do that. She's in California, and she says hang on, I lost it. Hold on. The California judicial system is a joke. Well, you have not been with us for Massachusetts, have you? Because Massachusetts is even more a farce joke. If you know, you know. Where's my Massachusetts people? Raise your hand in Massachusetts. They call it Massachusetts because it's so messed up. And if you heard me talk about how many times Massachusetts is bizarre, they keep kicking cases down the road. And if you commit a crime in Massachusetts, I feel bad for you because your case isn't going to be heard for years. So just saying. Oh, you guys, I love it. I love you guys. I'm having a good time. I hope you guys are having a good time. I'm so excited. Okay. Where am I at? Hold on. I want to talk about something here. All right, whatever. All right. I have on my Facebook page dates to remember. As you know, we're covering the Lindsay Clancy case, gavel to gavel. Please go. If you haven't looked at my Facebook page, on the side, it tells you all the spaces that I'm at: YouTube, X, Facebook, and Instagram. Most of the documents and stuff, I talk about this, I post on Facebook. Plus, I can also give you schedules and stuff that's on there. YouTube is where I go live to do my gavel to gavel coverage and talk about cases. So go on there and turn on your notifications, because sometimes I just pop on. You never know. We talked about the Fraser Bohm case. Okay, my California girl, do you know about the Fraser Bohm case? We talked a little bit about that. Let me know if you know about that one. If not, I'll tell you about that one. Sarah Grace Patrick, I went ahead of myself. Courtney Clenny is coming up. She's the OnlyFans model that I talked about earlier. Yes, Lindsay is being held in a psychiatric hospital right now, mental hospital right now. So she is not going, as an inmate. Okay. You don't know about Fraser Bohm. All right. I'm sorry if you've already heard about the Fraser Bohm case. We're going to talk about it really briefly. Fraser Bohm was traveling down Pacific Coast Highway. He was going around Dead Man's Curve. Some people call it Dead Man's Curve. It's called something else in this area. If you haven't, go on to my TikTok, and I don't know if you can see Fraser Bohm. I don't know if you can Google that. Anyways, I made a nice TikTok about it because it shows you the area and everything. So he was going around a curve. I think it's Dead Man's Curve on Pacific Coast Highway. It's in a specific spot in California, and it's not off the top of my head. He was doing allegedly 104 miles per hour. He came around the curve, lost control of his car, hit some other cars, and there were 4 Pepperdine University students, all girls, who were on the curb, and he annihilated them. They're all deceased. from this crash. He wasn't drinking. He wasn't on drugs. Was he going excessively fast? And he's being represented by Alan Jackson, and Alan Jackson is a high profile attorney in Karen Reed's case. So that's kind of why I'm covering it. He's a rich kid because he's out on like millions of dollars of bond. And I forget what kind of car he was driving. It was a very expensive car. And so Mr. Jackson's earning every penny. And they had a motion to dismiss twice, actually, this week. They had their second one. We're going to go over it. So probably this weekend, or maybe, I don't know, maybe later on today. I want to go over that. I want to see the hearing that Alan Jackson had. It's going to be on YouTube. And hear what Alan Jackson's arguments were in that case. They're talking about, it's a malice case. It's a malice case about driving really fast and whether you intended to do it or was it just an accident. That's kind of what they're arguing. And if you followed me, we just had a case. It was the accident that happened in Florida. It was the George Pino case where he was on a boat with a whole bunch of his daughter and his friends. He was driving in Biscayne Bay in Florida and he hit a channel marker. And when he did so, a couple of the girls were ejected from the boat. One was ejected and got underneath the boat and she died. She died of drowning. And they said that he was reckless, and that was a malice case as well. One other girl was severely injured. She has permanent disability, and then the other girl had some brain injuries, and she has recovered. They had a civil case about that. They got lots of money, but he had a criminal case, and he was found not guilty. Just FYI, he was found not guilty. So this is something very similar to that. That might be similar, except for how fast he was going is in dispute. So that's what we're going to find out when they argue this case. How fast was he actually going? Because that's in dispute as to what the police say and how actually fast he was going. And we're going to see what's going on there. Plus, also, I wonder if ARCA were the experts in Karen Reed's case. I wonder if ARCA is going to be called to reconstruct this case. And that's what I'm most excited about. All right, Sarah Grace Patrick. She is a 16-year-old girl who is being accused of killing her parents in Georgia. We're going to cover that as well. There's been some shenanigans with that case, and that case was fast-tracked. And so we don't know. The defense kept asking for continuances because they didn't get all the discovery. And just like 2 weeks ago, they asked for another continuance, and the judge said no. That one's going to trial on August the 3rd. How am I going to cover all these trials? Well, we'll work on it. If the Lindsay Clancy case continues not to be in court, there are other cases we could cover, right? So these are the cases that we're covering. Alex Murdaugh is going to have another pretrial hearing coming up. Then we have things that we're waiting answers for. We have motions to dismiss in the Karen Reed sagas. Aidan Carney's waiting for his motion to dismiss. What's going on with Karen Reed's phones? Is she ever going to get those back? Carmelo Anthony, he was the African-American track person who went into another person's tent and there was a kerfuffle with boys. He had a knife. The other boys didn't have a knife. He unalived somebody. He was found guilty. That case was fast-tracked as well. Some people say he didn't get a fair trial. He wants a new trial. Or is he going to get a new trial? That's also good. Corey Richins, we talked a little bit about Corey Richins. She's out of Utah. She was convicted of killing her husband with 5 times the dose of fentanyl. Her lawyers say that the judge was mean to them during the trial and they want a new trial. Well, the judge in that case is going to hear the judge wanted to recuse himself. Another judge said, no, you get to hear it. And so she actually has a hearing later on today. I don't know if it's going to be live streamed, but again, watch out for these spaces. Raul Valet. Raul Valet is out of Connecticut. That is another teenage brawl where a knife was introduced into this fight. Raul Valet was from a rival high school. He pulled up to a party that there's like 30 or 40 kids, unsupervised alcohol. He was tried once, was found not guilty of the M charges, but he was found a mistrial in his lesser included. They're retrying him again. That's the manslaughter charges. They're retrying him again. His new lawyer said it's double jeopardy. So they filed a motion and argued for the trial to be dismissed. That was denied. So Raul Valet will be back in court later in August. That was my very first case that I covered. And so I want to see that one to the end. And then, of course, there's a whole bunch of stuff with Karen Reed, aka everybody else. So do we have any questions, comments, concerns, ideas? Do you like the cases that I'm covering? Sorry, I laugh because it's like, I mean, I'm sure there's much, much, much more. And I could just be on here 24/7 covering all these cases. I usually don't cover kid cases, but a good friend of mine asked me to cover this one. So that is why I'm doing so. And besides, I also think it's very important to bring the Lindsay Clancy case to everybody because why did she do it? And if it is that she all right, my TikTok says that it's a problem, so I don't know what's going on with TikTok. So I seen that I'm still live, so I don't know. TikTok is sending me messages. So it's about mental health. It is about putting a spotlight on whether or not she had postpartum depression. And also, I think that this might help somebody else in the future, right? Because if you're having these intrusive thoughts, maybe this case will bring a spotlight to you and then you could go get help, right? And that it's not wrong to go ask for help. And it's not wrong to go talk to your spouse or anybody else. Carol Cord, I'll write that down. The Carol Coronados case. So it's perhaps maybe this case could bring awareness to women, current mothers, women who might have children in the future about potential things that could happen to you having a child, what that's like going through having a child, having 3 children under the age of 5, and what that looks like as far as your mental health is concerned. So, it's very important for us to talk about that. And I think it's important for us to go through this case, see what happened, what didn't happen. And we already know that there are 2 civil law cases against the doctors. Once this case is ended, once the jury has made their decision, we will do a deep dive on the civil cases and what's transpiring there. And as I stated earlier, Rosemary Scapiccio is representing Lindsay Clancy. And let me just say, Rosemary Scapiccio just doesn't take anybody. She's a busy woman. So there must be some, what I call like meat on the bones, right? There must be something there for Rosemary Scapiccio to pick this case up. Because I stated earlier, it takes a lot for a lawyer to do a malpractice case because you don't get paid up front. You only get paid if the case wins, right? You might get a retainer from your client, but it costs millions and millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars to begin with to do a malpractice case because you need to hire witnesses and you need to hire experts to go against the doctors. So you need doctors, you need people who know about medications, etc. So that one's the civil malpractice ones are experts versus experts. And how do I know? I was on a jury for a medical malpractice case where the person was suing 3 doctors, and it was boring. I can let you know one day when not much is going on. I can tell you all about that if you haven't already heard me talk about that. So, and also, if you haven't seen the Netflix documentary on the Maya case, you can see all of the experts and all of the stuff that came in for that, and the lawyers who were handling that, and how much money they had to put up front for the case to even get to where it was. And by the way, even though they won a huge payout, they didn't actually win. So the hospital filed an appeal and the money got shrunk down, and then now the lawyers are fighting about the money, and it's just, I say this all the time, and I say this all the time in all of these cases, like all of Karen Reed's, especially civil cases, the only people who are getting rich in this are the lawyers. So it is what it is. All right, Law Lovies, I am going to stop for right now. It is almost 1 o'clock my time. I've been at this for almost 4 hours. I appreciate you so much. Please like, subscribe, go to the spaces I told you about. YouTube is where I do the live things that I can share things with you. I can share documents. I can share motions. I can share things with you on YouTube. Facebook and TikTok do not like me sharing anything because they're like, it's not your original content. So I can share YouTube videos and stuff with you on YouTube because that's where it comes from. So please make sure you go and like those spaces, etc. And you can send me a message and I'll be happy to talk to you and respond. And remember, this is a safe space for everybody. I know that the Lindsay Clancy case there are people who are diametrically opposed. She did it, and that's the end of this. I don't even know why we're having a trial. Then there's some people who are saying she didn't do it. There's no way. She was mentally incapacitated. She didn't do it, and therefore I don't know why we're having a trial. It's okay. I welcome all of the discussions because maybe you know some insights that I don't know. Maybe you have some insights that other viewers don't know. And it's a safe space for all of us to come together and talk about it as long as we're respectful of everybody's decisions and comments and stuff. And we're not doxing anybody for what they have to say because, you know, this is a safe space for everybody to come in and talk about their thoughts and feelings on this case and other cases for that matter as well, right? So I have not formed an opinion on this case so far because I'm waiting for the evidence to come in. I stated earlier kind of what I feel like the prosecution's going for. They're saying that she was a controlling mom and she planned this and, you know, she sent him far away and she planned this. Well, I'm waiting for that information to come to me to state whether or not I believe that. And then obviously the prosecution said, nope, she was over-medicated. She had a psychosis moment and she was overly tired. Raising 3 kids under 5 is not easy, but it seems as though Patrick helped out a lot. And at one point in time, she had a nanny, right? She had a nanny for a while. So, you know, I don't know. All right, La Lovies, I appreciate you. I am going to stop right now. I would like to come back later on this afternoon. I really want to go over the Frazier-Bohm motion to dismiss argument that Alan Jackson did. We went over it a little bit earlier, like yesterday or so. Days are melting together. I think it was, Tuesday or something? I don't remember. We went over it a little bit before, so if you went over it, I'm sorry. We're going to go over it again because I want to hear what his arguments are in the Frazier-Bohm case. So make sure to do the likies, the subscribey things, what have you. I appreciate you. And watch your spaces because I'll be back on this afternoon, but I will only be live on YouTube because I cannot share the motion to dismiss with you on TikTok and or on Facebook because those spaces don't like that. So, which is okay. All right. I appreciate everybody. Go outside. Go for a walk this weekend. It's raining here right now, which is much deserved rain. So I will, hopefully if it stops raining, I will go outside because, you know, sunlight is the best disinfectant. So, All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the comments, questions, concerns, the likes, the follows, everything. I see everything. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back on in, let's say, about an hour and a half. So see you then if you join me. Bye. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye, TikTok. And goodbye, Facebook and YouTube. I appreciate you so much. Kimberly, you're amazing. If you're still on with me, thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate your interactions. Appreciate your insights. Love you. And peace out. I'm going to go get something to eat and go talk to my family. And then, we'll see what's going on. Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching Legalese 123. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe for more content.